All right, we're live.
You know what I like to do when I'm in Charleston? Hang out with John Mangini and look at Honus Wagner cards.
Hello, everyone. Got my man Don here in town.
What's up, guys?
Very exciting. Let's we'll give a little time for some people to join. We also have George from Diamond Yard Sports Cards is going to be joining us, and we don't really have a topic. And I was hoping that our viewers could give us some topics or some questions or some trivia. That'd be cool.
That'd be awesome. Why can't I find John here? So if you guys wondered if the Mangini room is as great as it looks on the videos, it is. This is one of two rooms that I've saw full of cards. The other room doesn't make the videos. All kinds of boxes. And Lou, he's probably not on here yet. I'll save that for him. We might be the only two on here, actually.
No, Lou wouldn't. He refused to take my autographed white glove home. Maybe you'll take it. That's not the.
You didn't autograph it though.
I got it over there. I got it over there. Lou left it. You can wear one.
No.
That might be a little.
Wore it earlier. A little personal. Here we go. All right. Let's make sure the volume's down. Let's make sure this doesn't mess up your video like it did last time. All right. Okay. We got Lou on here.
Is Lou on?
We got Double D Vintage.
Double D.
Roy Hobbs. Ruben. I don't know Ruben. I can't look at this because it's behind.
Get to turn the volume down though. All right, guys. It's great to have Don here, a fellow YouTuber. It's always wonderful to meet a fellow YouTuber. All right, guys.
That's right, Thomas. We're both from Pittsburgh. I still live there. John lived there at one time.
He is on a whirlwind tour all over the East.
Southeast, all the areas down here. So, Lou's going to be our moderator. There you go, Lou.
Lou, you going to moderate? Lou, give us a topic. You want to talk eBay authentication? I thought I would have what would be a nice exercise is for Don to grade all my graded carts. What do you think? Yeah, I know. He already graded that one.
These cards are ridiculous.
Man, you have to mute that thing.
I did. Why does it keep?
There you go.
I thought I did. Okay.
Look
at this one. There's no way that's a 1.5. John had me look at this under a magnifying glass. This card is awesome.
I don't know what the grader saw on that one.
My name's John. This is rare. This is rare. This is rare. I'm messing them up in your order here, though, man. Did you show him the page auto? It's stunning.
Oh, no, I didn't. Who said that?
Lou. All 10s.
He didn't delve too much through my boxes either, but a little more than you, Lou.
The favorite thing I've seen so far? Oh, you can't just pick one. I mean, there's so many cool things. I love this Mathewson. Couple bats he showed me.
Yeah, you know, Don being from Pittsburgh is going to have a lot. We have a lot in common with what we collect and what he would appreciate. I probably have a lot of things he would appreciate that if you weren't from Pittsburgh, you wouldn't appreciate as much.
Absolutely. Got Bradshaw up here. I mean, every wall. Clemente. I see Lynn Swan. Probably someone on this wall. Terry Bradshaw.
Your man, Stan Musial.
Stan Musial. What is that to the left on that?
That's the envelope. That's the original envelope.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. Let's play some baseball trivia.
All right.
Who has some questions for us?
I saw one the other day. I almost gave it away. I'd have to. It was what I do. Questions? Pops. No questions this time.
Willie Stargell, I got hitting lessons from him in Three Rivers Stadium.
We had to do an episode from the Clemente Museum.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That would be awesome. They probably don't let us.
Even the Heinz Museum, that they have an incredible card collection there.
Lou's afraid to mess it all up. Louis offers to look at everything, man. I can't believe you didn't look at half this stuff. What else?
Oh, I'm not looking for George. Is he in?
I don't know.
No.
How did I get kidnapped? I broke in. I'm here to steal some of his cards from NY Yankees fan 7. Vince.
Yeah.
No, I ended up here. You have to be from Pittsburgh to get invited here. That's the whole.
Or
secret.
Tampa.
Or Tampa. That's right. So are Lou and I the only two that have seen the room?
Yep.
YouTubers?
Yep.
Nice.
You're the second. Lou was my first.
You bought the cherry with Lou.
Lou was my first. And of course, I've been to Tampa too. Man, there's so many people down there. When you go, I went to that card show. I saw so many YouTubers. There were so many people.
Who else down there? Fisher Bike was down there.
Yeah, he had COVID when I was there, so I
did
didn't
he?
get to see him. But Bart, Junior Baseball Fanatic 12, Hitman 23, Sticks and Seams.
Is that
and
cometh an egg down there?
I don't know.
I thought he was in Florida. He could be somewhere else in Florida. So.
But there were a lot of people. We had a whole big table. Oh, and Breakout Cards was there, and James flew in for it.
Who was the first black player in the major leagues? That's a trick question.
Well, that is a trick question. People,
technically, Jackie Robinson.
People, I don't know. There's even more history on it. There was a guy from Harvard. I think White was his name. He was half black, half white. But most people recognize Walker, Fleetwood Walker.
Yep, that's it.
He played for Akron, and Cap Anson refused to play against him, and then that was the last game he played.
Vince is never going to be invited because he owns graded comic books.
He was a catcher. Fleetwood Walker. That's my answer.
Was he a catcher?
Final answer. Yeah, he was a catcher for Akron.
I saw one the other day. It was 4 guys. What did they have common? And they were the only guys that hit home runs as teenagers and in their 40s. And there was like 4 of them. Rusty Stubb was one.
Had to be Al Kaline.
Kaline was one.
Hank Aaron?
No. Miggy might have been one. Cabrera.
Okay.
And I forget who the 4th was.
Well, there will probably be a 5th. I'll bet you Bryce Harper does it eventually.
Soto, maybe. What was Clemente's original number? I saw that the other day.
Clemente's original number with the Pirates?
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw that.
It's like 9 or 39 or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. What is it?
I don't know.
Did he actually play with that number, though?
I think he did. Because someone else had 21. There's only a few games. And they got switched over.
I would probably know that if I was old enough to have watched.
Rick was, but Rick's not on here. I'm driving home. Lou's always doing something.
Yeah, he's always out and about. You got to go live with him late. Do we know what the number is?
He just put it up. 13.
13. Very different from 21.
Yeah, I wasn't even close with 9 or 39. So is George on?
That's
here?
a good trivia question.
How do you know if he's on here or not?
There he is.
He's been waiting forever.
No, I just looked a minute ago. Oops, sorry, I'm blind.
What's
up, guys?
There he is. What's up,
How
George?
you doing?
What's up? We need your
I've
help.
just been sitting in this waiting room forever.
Were you really?
No, maybe like 2 minutes.
Sorry.
I remember.
Are you out selling or buying cards?
No, I was at a show earlier today. We have a monthly show on our side of town, and it was fine. Not a whole lot of buying from people from me, but I'm always looking to buy stuff. So my son was running around. He was flipping like jersey cards and stuff. I had to pick up a few jersey cards for Lou's response, and I'm going to do the deadline's tomorrow, so I got to do it by tomorrow.
Oh, it is tomorrow.
I couldn't do that contest. I don't have any of those.
Here, you can
cards.
do mine out of here.
All right.
I have a few laying around.
So, George, I have a question.
Oh, here's a good question. Wait, trivia
All right.
question. What was Ralph Kiner's original number? Does anybody know?
I don't know. I could guess a random number.
Somebody post?
Nope. Oh, someone 16.
No, these tribute cards are pretty cool. They have these, and what they did was they took bat relics
Serious, man.
and they made them in their original number, and his was number 43.
Awesome.
Look at
You can see
this.
that.
It's just throwing Clemente patches around like they're nothing.
You know, I remember.
George.
Aha. Yep.
That's a piece of the what do you call that? The World Series. What do you call that?
The banners.
Yeah. Piece of the World Series banner.
Nice.
George, does your wife make mixed drinks for you?
Does my wife make no? No.
Yeah.
Then again, I have my own.
His wife walked up and just handed him this Jack and Coke. I'm like, my wife would never do that. Yeah, she just got up. She's got another one for him. This guy's got it made.
Well, how complicated? I mean, you know, it's Jack and Coke, right? It's like 1/3 this, 2/3 that, or however you want
Yeah,
it.
but the thing is now, you know, they're making them in a can together. It's taking all the fun out of it. It's taking
Yeah.
the fun out of mixing yourself a drink.
But you don't do it. So
No, I
I
just heard about it, but I heard it's good. I don't know. They made that years ago, and it was terrible. It tasted nothing like Jack and Coke.
Probably because they had like Shasta in it or something like that. It wasn't.
I
real
don't know.
cool.
It was not good. Didn't taste fresh. So I don't know if the new one will be good or not.
So, what did you guys, Don? You went out there for dinner?
No, I'm only staying about 20 minutes from here. I'm looking at the wrong camera. So my wife and kids were still at the pool, and I just shot over here.
Nice.
To the Mangini Museum.
Yeah. So, tell us about it. What is it like to be like in the bowels of the card cave?
I had to get special background clearance to get in here and go through the security check, but it does not disappoint. It is what you imagine it being on watching John's videos is more. And there's a whole nother room that you don't see with all kinds of boxes of amazing stuff. So, guys.
Yeah, when you come get a live tour, I take you to the secondary card room, and that's loaded with boxes and stuff. And then you have to exit through the gift shop.
Yeah, I have to buy a Mangini cutoff to get out of here.
Yeah, I sell cutoff shirts for $100 to get out of the house.
Less is more. So, John, what's the basketball net behind you? I always see the basketball net on. Is that a specific like hoop? What is that?
You know what? It is it's just something that I found at Hobby Lobby, and it's a wooden basketball hoop. So I'm like, that would look cool in my card room, and then I put a Wilt Chamberlain poster on it.
I thought you were going to say it was like the original hoop from the Fish That Saved Pittsburgh.
Oh, I wish, man. Loved that movie back in the day.
Here's the answer to that question. 4 players that had home runs in their teens and 40s. Ty Cobb, Rusty Staub, Gary Sheffield, and A-Rod.
You telling me Al
I
Kaline?
wasn't even close.
He must have retired before he was 40 then. I found it hard to believe Al Kaline wasn't one. He was a teenager when he came up, wasn't he?
He never played in the minor leagues. Speaking of the minor leagues, we went to the Bulls-Durham game 2 nights ago. It's just a blast going to minor league games.
Wait, speaking of that, how about Dave Winfield? Was he one?
No.
Wasn't he a teenager? He came straight out of high school.
No, he played in Minnesota, college.
He was in college, straight from
Oh, he
college.
was?
Yeah.
I thought he came out of high school.
Because he played football, basketball, and baseball. I don't know if he did all of those in Minnesota. I know he played baseball and basketball.
I got to research Al Kaline. That surprises me. George, you got any baseball trivia?
Well, one of my trivia questions. I've been asking this question forever, and I've used it before. The only man to win a batting title in 3 different decades.
In 3 different decades.
Not 3 batting titles. Well, 3 plus batting titles or 3 batting titles in 3 different decades. It was a giveaway 2 years ago on Hobby Palooza, and I believe Think Blue Jesse won it.
George Brett.
George Brett. Bingo. 76.
Where do I win?
80 and 90. When I see you at the National, I'm going to give you a big pat on the back, Don.
Oh, gee, thanks.
Maybe I'll bring you George Brett.
There you go. How about a
That'll work.
well-centered, sharp-cornered 1976?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? That's the card.
That's the one. I think that card should be worth more than his rookie. It's easier to find his rookie card in top grade.
You're right.
Well, yeah, Don, you know all about these 76s.
Yep.
It's just incredibly – it's off. It's always like diamond cut or it's just – the back is off. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I heard that it was up in the top left-hand corner of the sheet, and that's why it's like
yeah,
that.
I've heard that too. Which is crazy.
There are just certain cards, and you just know from collecting cards over the years, it's so hard to find a nice example or one centered. You know, it's like I was telling him earlier, the Ernie Banks rookie card. It is so hard to find a really great looking one.
It's always
Snow.
it's always high. It's always high.
Yeah, and that's a problem with all 54s, but especially that one. And the snow, it you know, the Hank Aaron, that's tough to find without the snow, but it's way easier than Ernie Banks. Ernie Banks is really tough to find a real crisp.
I think that it's because there's a lot of dark areas on that Ernie Banks card, and it's just the darkness creates the snow. Like I recently did a PSA reveal, and I had a 70 Pete Rose, and I swore this thing was an 8, and it got a 5. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm talking about. And I looked at it closer after I got it, and there's a large darker area underneath this cap, and it was full of snow. And it was right in front of me, and I didn't even look at it. I was looking at the corners and the centering, and I think they just deducted me because it was a print defect. Just like that Ernie Banks, man. It's just anything with those black backgrounds is just full of snow.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't even notice it, like that one for you. You
Yeah,
know?
it was in the center of the card, and I didn't see it. You know.
Yeah.
So,
And what's funny, I think nowadays is when guys, you know, it's so everything's about condition. What's a grade gonna be? And a lot of times they don't even look at the image. They're looking at the corners. That seems to be what they look at the corners, maybe centering, and you can miss stuff like that. I think for me, the corners are like the last thing I look for, because for me it's image first and foremost. I don't care if it's 4 sharp corners if there's something wrong with the image. Like I want it to look good, and then centering second. I can deal with not perfect corners myself.
I've switched on that because I used to be more of a corner guy.
Yeah.
And I'm not as much anymore. I'm with you, the centering, and as long as there's no creases, you know, and it depends on what the card is too. We were talking about the
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't want to pull
Roy Campanella over there.
I don't want to
it's
pull
like-
a brand new Bowman Chrome out and have it rounded
Right.
corners. Yeah.
yeah, like I'll give you guys an example. Here's a card I took the show today. I wish I already showed you the grade. Anyway, this is the card, and it's a Koufax, right?
Yeah.
And look at the centering on it. I mean, man, it's killer. And it's only a 5.5. But I mean, it's really, it's the
That's
corner.
Great in 62s.
It's not bad. It's not bad. But I mean, it's a really well-centered card. And I was like, you know, this is what you and I and a lot of the guys on the chat here, we live for this stuff, man. Just like, give me a 41 play ball Hank Greenberg in a 3. It just looks
heck
killer.
yeah. I mean, you know, that's the difference between a collector and trying to sell to some chooch who's going to pay $100,000 because it's 1 grade higher.
Some chooch.
I honest to God, if I had a card that was an 8 and it was going to get $100,000 and I could buy a 7 for $50,000, I would sell that in 2 seconds and go buy a 7.
Yep. There's one for you, John.
I would sell it in 2 seconds.
Who was on third?
And you know what? I wouldn't be able to tell them apart because most people can't tell the difference between a 7 and an 8.
Here's another
And
trick.
it's just hairs. It's just hairs in this grading. It really
Yeah,
is. I'm not diminishing it, but
Here's the thing. You could send it in 3 times and the third time get an 8. And that just shows you that lots of people, nobody can tell the difference because how often do they get the higher grade when you keep sending them in?
I'm just going to randomly show John stuff that I'm
What?
reading through.
beautiful.
In the candy store here.
Steph! George needs another drink.
Yeah, send it over. I'll take a Jack and Coke.
Cubby.
Nice. You know, is there a guy like we talk about the guys who don't receive the love in the hobby they should based upon their performance on the field, and you know, between you guys from PA and we love Stan Musial, right? Doesn't receive remotely the love, but McCovey is another one of those guys. It's
Yeah.
like, I don't know if there's any like slugger that was, from what you read and see in videos and books, they just feared this dude. All national.
I always felt that way about McCovey and Stargell. They were two very similar players, similar numbers, and neither one of them, in my opinion, ever got enough love.
There we go.
There you go. Now I'll tell you a guy who. There's two players that come to mind.
I'm going home with this one.
Oh, what? Nice.
Look at the Williams too.
Stop moving it.
All right.
There's a lot of glare.
That's awesome. Oh, John's a professional at this. I mean, this is like your channel. You put it out.
Right? Yeah, I get
All
it.
right. Well, then you do it.
I learned how to.
amazing.
Maneuver to get the.
No, you're doing great.
It's a beauty though.
Wow.
Hand-picked these babies. I looked long for both of those.
You know, despite Stan being underrated, you know, that card has gone up a lot. It hasn't gone down too much. It's a big card.
Rick, you just gave me this for going live.
I gave him the Briggs meat.
That's what he asked for right here. Look at this.
I gave you some ice.
All right.
No
Thank you.
open containers.
Oh, stop it.
Got one. Look at this. We're all getting
Hey,
served.
can you bring me a paper towel or a
I'll bring you.
napkin or something?
So here, John,
This is
here's a
big.
question on here. Where'd it go? Trivia
Oh,
question.
waitress. She won't bring me anything else now
Yeah, right.
because I said that.
Yeah,
See?
I'm seeing down there on the comments.
Shut up, George. I'm trying to talk.
I'm looking at the comments. It says McCovey is hurt. Stories in Cardboard puts McCovey is hurt by not winning a World Series, and I think that's true. But I think from what I remember, there was a series where they were playing against the Yankees, and it was the final game, and Mays was on third, and McCovey hits a shot to first base, and then that's the third out of the game, and the Yankees win the World Series. And it's like nobody could have hit the ball harder, and went right to the wrong guy.
I'm sorry, George. We were distracted.
No, I got you.
What did you
So,
say?
John, are you doing a Lou Rock relic response?
Well, I have some relics out here, but I got some in displays, and I've been meaning to do it. I got a big stack here, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. But I guess I only have a day left, huh?
We can do it right now.
Let me get them out of the display. Can I do it? Can I do it live?
Here's a question, John. Who was on third when Bobby Thompson hit his shot off Brankin?
That's a great
have no idea.
question.
You know what, John? If you do your relic thing live for Lou Rock's response, I'll do mine live.
Okay, let's do it.
Let me have my son go get my cards.
I got to take a display down. I have a couple cards in there I wanted to show.
Lou's not on here now, though. He's driving.
Yeah, we'll have to wait for Lou.
Yes, you will.
Okay, so just this is a hat signed by Ralph Branca and Bobby Thompson. Shot heard around the world. When I was a little kid, I had a Kurt Gowdy record. It was like a record of famous baseball games from the radio, and I used to listen to that over and over again.
Was Rick at that game?
So it always sticks in my head. Yeah, Rick might have been at that game.
I think he was.
See what he says. Was he at that game?
Rick, were you at that game?
So, all right, let's think of a Giant who scored. I don't know, so I'm going to take a flat-out guess.
I don't have any idea.
Who would have batted in front of him? I'm going to guess Whitey Lockman. Total guess.
Sounds good to me. I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm going to be curious to know. I've never heard that question before. That's a good question.
I don't know.
You got to give us the answer now.
Who asked that?
You know what? When I hear it, I'm probably going to be like, oh, I knew that. I'm trying to think of other Giants on that team. I don't think it was Mays. So I discounted that.
I want to say he was on deck.
Bobby Thompson, when did he bat?
Sure.
Because Mays was when Mays was young, he was a leadoff hitter.
Clint Hartung.
Oh, man, I could have had a million guesses.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known that.
What's his name? Clint.
Hartung, Hartung.
Yeah. I've heard of him. But I would have never guessed that. I didn't even know what
Mays was on deck. I was right. But I wouldn't have guessed that either.
More trivia?
Most hits in MLB between 50 and 59.
Between 50 and 59.
To play.
Well, I mean, Williams and Mueller were out for military service.
So was Mays for a year.
Yeah, but he didn't even come up that early. So
Well, he came out in 51.
Yeah, it has to be somebody who came up in 50, 51.
had to be somebody who played all the years, though, I would
Yeah,
think.
most of the years. Who played a lot of games? Reese? No, he didn't play through the end of the 50s.
Most hits 50 to. Okay, who came up in the 40s? Let's think.
Yogi, but Yogi was a catcher, so he probably didn't have the at-bats.
Right.
Kiner? No, when did Kiner retire? He didn't make it all the way through the 50s.
Not a high enough batting, not
Yeah.
not high enough batting average.
I'm looking at your wall here.
Well, could it be
Yeah.
Pee Wee?
Well, Peter would have retired though, like
I don't know if he
What
was.
about Duke Snyder?
6-ish. Duke Snyder would be a good guess.
Oh, Duke Snyder. Yeah, what year did
Is it Ricky Ashburn? Nate? I see Nate said he played with Philly. Oh, so Chris Gill put Ashburn.
Yeah, Ashburn's a really good guess. He was.
Musial?
Ashburn
Ashburn?
was a great player, and a man, what a great defensive center fielder too. But he was a good
Yeah,
hitter.
they said it was Ashburn.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's cool.
Now, who had the highest batting average of the 1960s?
Roberto Clemente.
Of course. Of course.
Who had the highest batting average of the 1970s?
Highest batting average was the 19.
Carew?
It had to be Carew.
Rod Carew.
It had to be.
I wonder in the 80s if it's Gwynn or Boggs. I think it's probably Boggs.
I'd have to go. No, I would have to go with Gwynn. Of the whole 80s?
Yeah, I want to go with Gwynn, but I think Gwynn really like started hitting.
Well, here's
He
the
really
thing.
began weight to hit.
Now, wait a minute. Neither one of them played the whole 80s. Did they have to play every year of the 80s?
It was highest batting average, not hits.
Yeah, but did they have to play every year?
I don't know.
Or
That's
just,
George's
I mean,
question.
one guy could have played 1 year and
Well, that's true.
had a 370 batting. Who knows? I mean, yeah.
Who replaced Ripken in the lineup when the streak was broken? No clue.
Did you ever hear the rumor about how his streak was saved?
Yeah, there's a few different things, right? Like there's some randomness, there's some like illness, but the game got rained out or something. There's
So I lived in Baltimore, and that's my territory currently. And there are locals at Baltimore that say that, man, it's kind of a crazy story, but I think it's true.
What?
You never heard it?
I may have. I have forgotten though.
I mean, apparently, so I don't know. People that live in Baltimore will remember that there was a blackout one night,
It was on purpose.
and the game was delayed or canceled for this blackout.
Mm-hmm.
And supposedly that was done intentionally because Cal Ripken wasn't going to play. And somebody at the city supposedly
Really?
did that. I don't want to say why he wasn't going to play. It's his personal business, but yeah, supposedly somebody at the city got together so his streak wouldn't end, and they made sure that the game got delayed.
Well, here's a card I picked up today. Beat the streak. Jersey card for my shortstop for my team.
Nice.
And since Nate's on here, like Nate taught me many years ago, always look at the back to see where it purports to be from. To see, you get a lot of Panini stuff that says it's just a piece of, it's just, you got a relic. This says it's a major league, it's a piece of jersey worn in an official major league game.
Have to buy all
Yeah,
9 positions.
I was just talking about that on a video. Like for football, they'll have a rookie go to like rookie day or something, do some autographs, wear a jersey, take it off, and they cut it up and put it in his rookie card and make it look like it's a relic. But he actually didn't wear it in a game. It's such a scam. Some of them are scams. I like to see the provenance. I wanted to say what it's from.
Are you saying are you purporting that the hobby has been full of scams? Is this
Sometimes. You know what though? Just like in life, there's way more better people in this hobby than bad people. It's just the few bad people are the ones you hear about all the time and that are blown out of proportion. You know, it's the same thing on the news. You hear, the things we hear about, where there might be, thousands of other good things we're not hearing about, right? And we only know what they present to us. And that's the same in our hobby. I mean, there's so many wonderful people in this hobby, and we don't hear about them enough.
I think we do hear, you go to shows and you meet dealers or interact with people, especially if you know dealers who are really good and you keep going back to them or whatever. And you have a good experience. You share that experience. And
yeah, the thing is like when those kids pulled that one.
Oh yeah, when they said they were going to give it away.
Yeah,
and
then it was worth 20,000, so they weren't going to give it away. Well, they were on every video on YouTube for the next 2 months, And
speaking of that, when are my Christy Mathewsons coming in the mail?
Yeah, but those are the people that get in the news all the time, right?
But what do you guys like? For me, so this Clemente relic card, it just kills me to see jerseys and bats from these guys. Like, what do you guys think about that?
That's a good take. And I have to tell you, when they first started coming out with these in like the early 2000s, and I was appalled. I was like, you're going to take a Babe Ruth or Shoeless Joe Jackson bat or jersey and tear it apart?
That's how I feel.
But then I kind of had a second opinion on it. And I look at it this way. That they probably, they have more than one, number one. So it's not Babe Ruth's only jersey or Shoeless Joe Jackson's only jersey or only bat. And what if they didn't do that? It would sit in a museum somewhere. People would go look at it, the people who happen to go there. And by cutting it up and putting it in these cards and making memorabilia, it allows the average Joe like you and me and Don to own a piece of Clemente's jersey we would never be able to own. And so I think it's bad and good.
Yeah, it's kind of like the fractional ownership idea of these cards. We all can have a piece of a Clemente jersey or whatever. I mean, if it's super rare, it's a different animal. I mean, not that Clemente jersey is not rare, but this idea of fractional ownership in sports cards, some people can't afford this stuff, so they buy into it. I mean, it's just a way to make money, certainly, but at least
great investment. That's a little different. Like, you can't hold it in your hand and enjoy it. You can't come up to your card room and look at it.
True.
I mean, you can look at it maybe on a computer like an NFT, but this is a little piece of Clemente's
Where are
jersey
your NFTs, by the way?
that I can touch if I want to. It's just awesome. I bought a bunch of these. I don't know if I bought a box or what. I ended up with a ton of these, though. I pulled this out of a pack myself. I pulled the Jackie Robinson out of a pack. I pulled the Mickey Mantle out of a pack, and I pulled the Honus Wagner out of a pack. Picked these out of a pack.
Showing the glare.
And I was pretty excited because I got Bill Mazeroski, too.
Hank Wilson, 33 Gowdy. That's awesome.
That's the Type 1 photo for that card. Now, they took a little liberties because the bat's not in the exact same place, but it's clearly the same pose.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when you look at that Gowdy card of Hack Wilson, you think, man, that dude was so stout. He's so thick and stout, right, in the card. And then you look at the picture, and you're like, that isn't that far off the truth. He's a really stout, strong dude.
Most people know that, he owns a single-season RBI record, which was originally 190. They later credited him with another one, so it's 191.
No, he's from Pittsburgh.
But few people know that he was the National League's single-season home run leader until Sammy Sosa and McGwire broke it. He had 56.
56, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he didn't get much love. He burned out quickly, I think, but he had a great career.
A player, man. I love getting his cards, and man, they've gotten pricey. You can't get I got a few. And he has one of those matchbooks, the matchbooks. Oh yeah,
I saw those yesterday.
And he has that. It's a card. I forget the actual designation, but it looks like Yinglings or Tharps.
A little bit there.
Yinglings or Tharps. I'm not sweating.
I'm kidding. I was showing the glove.
Yinglings or Tharps, and it's a blank back. I forget the designation, but I have that card, and I'm so happy to have it because he has so few. And then I have the oversized W card. What were those cutouts? W517s, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what they are? Anyway, I have that one. That's a cool image. It's a unique image of him. So I have 4. I think. I don't think I have any. Oh, and I have his. He's on a 1935 4-in-1 Gaudi.
Yeah.
I have that one, and I'm trying to think if I have if he's on a batter up. I'm drawing a blank. I should go look.
That
through
I'm
my,
not sure.
I should go look through my batter ups.
Yeah. You want me to get them for you,
I
sir?
think I have them. I can't remember.
Yeah, those 35 Gaudis are, I think they're really underrated. I mean, they don't have a write-up on the back, and it's a piece of a picture, but I just think they're so cool. Like the Tigers one with Greenberg is really cool. The Cardinals one, neat. And then like the Yankees with Dickey and Lazzeri. That's awesome. I mean, it's really neat.
I'm working on the set.
You have them here?
Yeah, I have them. I have every set. I have every.
No, you
Not
have them.
not
I
every
mean, you have
complete
them
set,
accessible.
but I have just about every set represented. I thought
So
it would
Don seems like he can grab stuff pretty easily. It's pretty organized.
Yeah, I mean, I could get those 35s in about a minute, under a minute.
Under a minute.
Literally right down the hall.
Mm-mm.
Oh, that's
Oh, there
crazy.
you go.
I'm a visual person, and my cards are all out of order for what year or
But
whatever.
you know where they are.
But I know where they are from looking at them all the time. So I'm one of those people that has a junk drawer, and I know everything that's in it just because I'm a visual. Once I see it, I know it should be in there. That's why when I look at a card online or something, I immediately know if I have it or not. 99% of the time. Every once in a while, I'll buy a card and I'm like, oh, I had forgotten I picked it. But for the most part, I know immediately once I see it if I have it or not.
I know there's some people out there that will buy triples, doubles, triples because they forget. And I mean, that's fine, but it's like, I feel the same way. I try to remember like all the cards that I have so that I don't, buy doubles. But I remember I was talking to baseball collector Mike, and Vince was talking about this, having a spreadsheet of all your stuff. I don't have a spreadsheet. I probably should, but I don't. I'm just not that organized.
How would you do a spreadsheet for like 1 million cards or 200,000 cards?
It'd be hard to pick which ones.
I would have to quit my job.
Yeah, I don't have the time. I tried scanning all my cards and that.
Well,
I don't have that either.
Years ago in the early 2000s, I got a computer program. It was called, many of you probably had it. I forget what it's called now. And of course, I didn't have the best computer at the time. I didn't know that at the time. So I spent weeks.
Wait, you gotta do it.
George, I spent weeks. And I put every card I had in there. Every card. Checklisted. I had printouts and everything. And my computer crashed.
You just give up.
And it was on one of those old CD-ROM programs, right? Like it wasn't something. It would be so much easier today. You would never lose it today, but back then, I lost it all, and I was so mad, and I wasted so much time that I just never had any interest in putting it together again.
You have a Bruce Lee card. You have Bruce Lee card.
I have all kind of Bruce Lee cards. Yes.
Do you have a Bruce Lee card with him and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on it?
No, but they do have that card. It's a Toa.
Is that from a movie?
From 1974 Toa. They have.
Which movie is that? Is that like Return of the Dragon?
That was his last. So Game of Death was his last movie. He died while filming it, but fortunately they filmed the ending first, and so there's a stand-in for the whole first part of the movie that's not him, and then when it comes to the fight scenes, it's him because they filmed that first, and it is meant to portray his Jeet Kune Do, where he basically says, "Be like water," that you have to adapt to your opponent. So as he climbs the stairs to the next floor, each opponent is very different, and so he has to adapt his fighting style to fight them all. And so the first one, I forget what they use in the first one. And then the second one's the nunchucks. He comes up against the guy with the nunchucks. And then the last one, the third one, is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And he has to fight a
So how
guy
do you fight him?
supposedly with better
Kareem?
skills and much bigger, right? and he ends up beating him by doing MMA. He basically does jujitsu to beat him. He wrestles him and chokes him out.
Well, every time I look at the 72 Kareem, where he's to the side holding the ball like this, and he's got the burns, I always think of Game of Death because I think it's around the same time period.
Well, Kareem was his student.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that's why he
that's
got him.
cool.
And the guy that does the nunchucks, he was a very famous martial artist, actually. I think he's Korean. I think. I might be wrong.
Nate said, try imagine having 5,800 cards of the same player and trying to remember if you have one.
True. That's tough.
Oh, man. I don't know if anybody has a collection of Barry Bonds stuff like he does. I mean, it's just amazing. And I remember when he got that. There's a video back in the day when before I even had a channel, and I was watching him, and he had a bat barrel. I think he had gotten at the National, a Bonds bat barrel numbered to, I don't know, it was numbered to like 3, or maybe it's 1 of 1. I don't know. But, and if you guys watch Snoop's video and Aaron Davis's video about the relics, I mean, the relics are just off the hook. It's crazy. I mean, bat barrels and all kinds of stuff.
Those bat barrels, I mean, those are some serious relics. They're so much nicer than, there are some really cool relics and so much greater than just a generic jersey. You have no idea what game it's, if it's from a game or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have, for new collectors out there, and this is for the new collectors, they have some things that are misleading. Like you'll see a piece of wood on a Josh Gibson card, and you just assume or think that it's a bat card or something. But then when you read it, it's a piece of a seat from some stadium that he might not even have played in. And it's like those are the dumbest relic cards to me.
I'm gonna show you something. This is interesting. This is gonna be part of my relic thing. And you've seen it before. This is Josh Gibson, Tier 1 relics, numbered to 75. It's PSA 9 dual bat card. Now it doesn't say on the back that it's a bat card. It's from 2016, but there was a PSA article recently talking specifically about Gibson. It was a guy, I believe, from the Negro Leagues Museum, and he wrote about the fact that Topps has one of the 2 Gibson bats, and they make these cards out of the bat. So I didn't feel so bad, but for a while I had another one of these cards. It was a single relic, and I sold it like 4 years ago. But there was a specific article in the PSA's magazine about Gibson himself and like the rare Gibson relics. And there's a lot of seat relics, which they try to convince you or make, if you're hitting the button quick, you're buying those. So that's why
would they put that? If that is a true Josh Gibson bat, I mean, they're authenticating it, right? They put it in there. They know where it came from.
Right.
And that's the provenance. And they should put that on the card.
I would like that. But I mean, I guess from what I read, Topps had bought one of the 2 bats from the Gibson family. Nate typed something down there about that. But what you said is right, though. You'll see a lot of Gibson stuff out there that's a seat from a game at some point, somewhere. And there's a lot of more modern stuff with Panini. I mean, I have some cool, like here's a Satch relic, and it's like a 1 of 3 or something. And it's a really
yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying you wouldn't know that.
Right.
And this doesn't exactly say where it's from, even though, it's a beautiful card. I mean, it's red, Kansas City Monarchs red. I have other Satch cards that actually say where it's from that I'm searching for right now as we speak. For example, here's a Doby bat card. Jackie and Doby. It's hard to see. But anyway, so it says on the back, actual bat used by Larry Doby in Cleveland Indians Major League Baseball game.
Yeah, there you go. That's
what you prefer to get, obviously. And then those were, those came out pretty much like 2003, 2000 to 2007, 8. And then after that, they don't really make many representations of the provenance, as you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have a Three River Stadium seat behind me. So I could cut it up and put Clemente's face on it. You know what I mean? Like he didn't sit in it. It was in the stadium.
It's going to be a John Mangini, man cave.
I'll sit, and then you can cut it up.
It won't be worth anything if I sit in it. Did we have any more trivia questions?
No.
I wanted to do a whole live stream one day. You know, I'm trying to get one card from every vintage set ever made, at least one card. And I have not started the checklist where I'm at, right? I don't even know where to begin with that. But I thought it might be fun to go live one day and just have people like throw out sets they know, like obscure sets,
Do you have it?
and see how many times I have to say, no, I don't have it. And like write down the ones they're telling me that I don't have. And start to check.
You know off the top of your head what you don't have?
I know some of them.
Right.
I mean, some of the super rare ones.
Or I mean, you know everything you have. I guess I said that wrong.
I think I know every set I have. I think.
Lose back so we can do
Although
our
some,
live.
some of those cutout
rugs.
cards, there's like the W572, the W571. You know,
I can't keep any of those straight.
I can't always remember off the top of my head.
Lose back.
But
so
if you
can do your relic
describe
cards.
them, then I know. Like I know like Harringtons, Yinglings, those kinds of things. The
Do you have
W-
Yingling
Yes.
cards?
Yeah, I have two. I have Eugene Hargroves and George Sisler.
So when you're looking at the cards that you're going to be getting here, and you're trying to, I mean, do you just buy them raw? Do you buy them graded? Do you buy them both? I know you've been doing this project, you know, for a little while.
Oh,
Your
me?
whole yeah.
Yeah, I will buy them. I will buy them either way. And you know, the thing is for me, and I you know, you and I had this discussion the other night, is that you know everybody's so worried about fake cards, but the truth of the matter is that 99.9% of cards have never been faked, and especially a lot of these obscure sets that people don't even know of.
That's a good point.
And why are you going to fake a card you can't get much money for? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But the truth is 99.9% of cards have never been reprinted or faked, right? Like you have Michael Jordan rookie card. That's faked, right? In a big way. A lot of the Leaf cards are faked in a big way. When you go to like they made reprints of 1940 play ball. But man, you can tell the difference immediately. They're legitimate reprints, right? But I've never seen them faked.
So I had this conversation today.
Anyway,
You had this conversation today at this card show with a couple guys, and they had bought some other cards. Guy came up, hey, just got this Diamond Stars. So what's the number one test to determine if a vintage card is legit to you guys?
For me, it's those brown. Number one, the dead giveaways, those brown squiggly lines where they dip it in tea or whatever to try to age it.
Mm-hmm. That's one. Don, what do you say? What's the number one test?
To see if they're fake?
Yeah, vintage cards. Well, there's one thing you could do.
Smell them.
Well,
Smell it. Smell it.
Touch it too. The new cardboard, it's hard to fake that stuff.
Yeah, if it doesn't smell like your grandmother's attic or your grandfather's basement, it's probably not real. Today I had, there it is. Don's doing it. I had a guy today. He says he's a real nice 66 leaders card with Clemente, Mays, and Aaron on it. And it was nice, probably like excellent condition. And he's like, it almost doesn't look real. I looked at it. The back was a little brown. I pulled it out. I smelled it. I'm like, this is good.
Yeah.
It's a nice card, but some stuff just looks too good to be true,
Well, you take the 33 Gaudi. If you can't see through it in the back, it ain't real. Right?
Is it like the experts at the grocery store who take the 100 and look up like that? Like,
the 33 Gaudi tend to they tend to bleed through. I don't want to say all of them, but a lot of people think that they're fake if that happens. But that's actually how they are.
You want that.
Yeah, not all of them, but it's common. It's common. But if you see when they have corners and perfect centering, like
that's like your Swamp Find card over there.
Yeah, you just don't find that too often. The Black Swamp Find card I have, the E, what is it, 98, I think?
I don't even know what they are.
Those cards look fake. They're so thin and perfect. They totally look fake. And if you saw one and didn't know that they had this find, you would totally think it was a fake card. They look just like a reprint.
Yeah,
99.9% of cards have never been faked. So how are you getting a fake?
Yeah, you're right. And you had talked to me. you just picked up this Dick Butkus rookie, and you've been looking for it for a long time. Nice copy, you know, and you knew because it had the edges were, you know,
Authentication.
well, the edges were like very thick, you know, like a saw. What's the word I'm looking for? But anyway, so this Butkus card was never faked. Who fakes it? Who fakes the Butkus rookie football card? And you were so right.
I've seen Gale Sayers, but
Yeah.
I mean, you have to have never collected any kind of cards to not tell the difference between the reprints, and they're not fake. There's a difference between fake and reprints. Now, a lot of people will try to doctor up reprints, try to make them look old, and that's when you get the T. You might get a little corner cut off, or around them, but almost always, like when they wrinkle it or round a corner or something, it's almost too white, right?
Oh, if there's white, yeah, you know.
4 rounded corners, and because the kid played with it, ain't no way it's going to be white, right?
No, the color's got to be uniform or darker. You know, like it's got to be uniform. You see some of these cards, and like, where the card is rounded, it's really white, like you said. It's like it's going to be kind of cream or dark or brown, kind of all the way through, and that's an indicator.
Yeah, but I say it all the time. Like, go try to find a fake 1961 Richie Ashburn. Good luck. Good luck. It's way easier to find real ones. I mean, most, all those, they're just not fake. There are some sets that have been reprinted, and you certainly have to be careful and look twice at those. But again, for anybody that's dealt with vintage cards, it's pretty darn easy to pick them out. I mean, in person, you might get duped online, but once you get it in your hand, I mean, it's pretty easy. And even like for trimmed cards and stuff, if you look at the edges,
more of a chance of that than.
But what I do is I put them up against the other similar card, and if you like, what you do is you put them up, and you put your card on the front,
right?
And if it's trimmed, you will see part of the other card behind it, either up here or down here or on the sides or something. You will see it's not the same size.
Well, I know you're right. I know you're right, and I know how. I take one of those like sewing measuring tapes that you can keep really taut, and I measure it to see if it's the right size. But I know you're right. The problem is the grading companies are not right. And here's an example, recent example. And by the way, Cooter Lev only trusts eBay to tell him if it's authentic. He's just kidding, I know. Just like you'd go in Office Space on that eBay.
I got the authentic right here, baby.
Yeah.
Here you go. This is all you need.
What's up, Ken?
You can sleep
there
at
it
night.
is. Yeah.
And Nate told me that they just got a Bonds autograph that they authenticated. He guarantees it's fake.
And he posted that up there. And now you can sleep. Now you won't be waking up in a cold sweat.
Right.
Worrying about the authenticity of your cards.
This one.
Yeah.
So here's my size, grading and size. Will Chamberlain, 1970 tall boy. Got this card a while ago. Thought this thing is a 7 all day. Measured it. It measured the same way that my Elvin Hayes, which is already slab, measures. My buddy's Oscar Robertson. Send it to PSA. Minimum size requirement. I don't know. I get it back. I measure it again. It measures perfectly. Send it to SGC. 7. Now
somebody was in a hurry that day.
Yeah, SGC was right. This card measures. I mean, I'm not saying sour grapes to PSA because 95% of my collection is PSA, and they have never done me wrong. But this is an example. Like, I mean, this card is it's a nice card, and
what do they see it? What do they see it? And here's this is an interesting side topic that relates. Is that Topps back in the day, it wasn't perfect printing, and a lot of cards came off the printing place, the printing machines,
a different size,
and into a pack a little bit different size. And so, should you be punished? It's just an authentic, even though it came from Topps, distributed in a pack that way. That's how it came. Who is the grading company to say that that's not, it's just an authentic Topps card?
Right.
And the vending. Sorry, Don.
Yeah, I mean when you compare it to modern cards, of course it's different. There should be some sort of different grading standard for vintage cards or something, because these aren't. Every card that comes out of the pack now is perfect. It's shiny. It's perfect. The corners are perfect. In the old days, that wasn't necessarily the case.
Oh, you're right. And it's also the vending cards. The vending cards would come out of the case or come out of the vending boxes sometimes small. And so those vending cards are typically smaller, even though they came straight from the factory in 1964, 1965,
right.
later on. It's not like they didn't meet the standards that PSA is setting out, but it's not like they're not legit. And people are like, oh, it's trimmed. It's not trimmed. It's just small because it was cut.
And you're hitting on my point. Is it makes it seem like it's so common for cards to be trimmed, but just because they don't meet the minimum doesn't mean that they were trimmed. A lot of them came from Topps that way.
Oh, if you open up like when 1981, when the three companies, Topps was losing, losing market share, and their quality was diminishing in the late 70s into the early 80s, right? So their stuff was not of that high quality, and they finally kicked it in gear like in '83 when they had competition. Well, in '81, Donruss and Fleer come in, and they're newbies. They made cards. Fleer made football cards, and Donruss made Sgt. Pepper's cards and Elvis cards and Dallas cards, but they had shitty card stock. If you open an '81 Donruss box, you're gonna get like cards in like 30 different sizes. I mean, it's crazy. I opened a box with my buddy, and I got a Mark Fidrich that was in a triangle.
Yeah,
I'm not kidding. It was missing like a triangle.
And they had all the errors and misspellings and how about Topps? Like I intentionally collect miscut cards where it'll be half of one card and half of another card. Like that's how they came out of the pack.
I have a great Tony Oliva, 64 Tony Oliva, and it's like you can see, it's I wish I could grab it, but these cards were more unique than getting a really nice, well-centered card.
Yeah, right. And that's why I collect them. I mean, I have a Joe DiMaggio 41 play ball Joe DiMaggio that's kind of diamond cut. It's kind of miscut. And I bought it intentionally because I'm like, well, there's tons of 41 play ball DiMaggio centered. This is like the only one that I've ever seen like this. It's a one of one.
I'm going to try to bring my 1970 Al Oliver rookie card, and it's like quadruple printed. It looks like one of those. Remember when you were a kid, the 3-dimensional pictures you had to put on the glasses? Well, if you have the glasses off, it looks like there's like 4 Al Oliver, like he's got like 4 eyes. It looks like something that Doc Ellis would
that
see.
Was common back then, and we used to have those too. And I'll buy that from you. Yeah.
By
the way, Nate sent me this. He texted me this. This is the Bonds relic. This is the Bonds relic. I wish you could see it. It's a bat barrel, and it's got his signature on it. It's Topps Tier 1.
Who is that?
That is awesome.
This is what Nate sent me. Text after we're talking about the Bonds bat relic from the Josh Gibson thing. Anyway, so
Bonds bat barrel.
Bonds bat barrel relic. I mean, it's just awesome.
Yeah, I don't have a single bat relic, but they are awesome. I have the pucks in hockey. Those are awesome too. And how about like a piece of the football? That's kind of cool too.
Those
What to do?
$4 or $5 grand. Some of those guys.
Which
the bat knobs?
Oh yeah,
They're up there, man.
Is it an actual bat knob? How big is a bat knob?
I don't know.
Are those actual bat knobs?
It's an actual bat. It's an actual bottom of the bat knob, but they must have a very fine saw.
Yeah, I was gonna say they just trim it. It's not like it's.
Oh, they trim it.
Yeah, there's no way they cut.
Yeah, but it's not going to come back trim.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, Nate right there. It's a bat. It's a knob. It's the knob of the bat. Just the bottom of it. Put on the card. Signed it. Beautiful.
You need some water?
No, I'm fine.
You good?
Thanks.
I'll bring another bottle.
No, I'm fine. Thank you. It's unbelievable. I've never seen this. My wife doesn't do.
Hey, I have to tell you something. I have the best wife. So when
Rick's saying I'm not allowed to talk, you guys are hogging everything.
I got to share this. When we first got married, when we first got married, so my friends, they weren't, their wives wouldn't let them go anywhere when they got married, right? I was kind of like a bad influence. They weren't allowed to go out with me or anything. So I decided I was going to take up chess. And so I set up 3 chessboards. I had this basement with this big L bar, and I set up tables with chessboards, and I invited them over. I'm like, come on, let's play chess. And we'd sit over there and drink all night and play chess and this and that. So I had my friends over. So my wife comes down. She had made all these sandwiches and food, and she's bringing everything down and getting everything. And my friends are like, not only would my wife not bring me food, she wouldn't even allow me to have this party.
Right. Yeah.
Like no one would be allowed to come over.
I know, but she wouldn't be feeding me drinks all night here.
I have the best wife. This room was her idea.
Nice. My wife's idea was for me to start doing YouTube. She said, I was watching it for like a year and a half, 2 years. And I'm like, I kept talking to her about it. And she's like, shut up and just do a channel. Shut up and do a channel. I want to hear it. And don't talk to me about it until you do a channel. So it was all her idea, frankly.
Okay, we need people to ask Don questions because
So
Rick says you and I have hogged the feed. So who wants to ask Don a
Well,
question?
we got James is on here, Double D, 4 Leaf, Lou, Ken, Nate. It's great.
Rick, Blue Rock, Dylan, yep.
Dylan stormed onto the card
did.
community scene, man. Dylan, I like to think of Dylan as a mini me because he's younger than me. So
He's not short. Or he might be. You guys are all little guys.
yeah. So I don't know if you guys know this, but Don is really tall, and I am on a seat jacked up so that he doesn't look this much.
You got some phone books, a couple white pages.
This much lower than mine.
Hit my knees on this table. But
Don squatted down like a catcher. He's looking like Yogi, like Yogi Bowman.
I'm on my knees right now.
So Don, how long have you been on YouTube now?
About a year and a half.
Year and a half.
So it was a year ago last December.
And what made you decide to make a video?
I, like many of you guys, I was watching all these videos, and I've said this before on my videos. I was jealous of like everyone just communicating and sharing all this stuff. And I was watching Natsman and Eric, those back pages. And they were talking about making videos, and I didn't even have my name. I didn't have a channel. I was just my email. And I just said, I'd love to make videos. I'm scared to make them though. And Eric was like, if you got a cell phone, just put it on and go for it. And probably like 3 or 4 days later, I made my first video because I felt like I didn't have anything that people hadn't seen before. I'm like, I've got nothing to show. But then I learned that it doesn't matter. It's kind of the story behind it. We've all got cards that people have seen.
It doesn't matter, yeah.
But yeah, it's how did you get that card, or why is that card important to you? And I'm sure, like, you go back and you watch your first video, it's like, oh my God. But
I watched my last video and cringe.
Yeah.
I
I need better editing. It's terrible. Sometimes I'm like, this isn't a cave. I need to get a microphone.
I just get on my phone and
yeah,
show
same
cards.
here. I don't review mine, so then I get on and there's like
I learned to review them because I will misspeak all the time. Like when you get old, right? All these names are running through your head, and it's easy to throw out the wrong name. Like one time,
Thank you, Dylan.
I have a red man, and it's Pee Wee Reese, but it looks like Duke Snyder. Like Duke Snyder came out in the video, and then, of course everybody's like, that was Pee Wee Reese. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I thought I'd say the right name, but a different name comes out. You know what I mean? So it's funny because I will review them all now, and then if you ever see where it's like cut, where it looks spliced, that's because I misprint. I said the wrong player and piece it in.
I don't have time to sit down and edit. I'm too lazy.
Yeah, but
I put a disclaimer at the bottom because people are going to say like, yeah, Jackie Robinson wasn't the MVP of the NFL. He was MVP of Major League Baseball.
Right,
I'm like, oh yeah, should have corrected that, but I just put a little asterisk at the bottom. Like, I know.
Yeah, Eric.
I'm too lazy.
I just wanted to say, is a big proponent of people doing.
is.
I saw a specific video where he was like, "You have a phone, just get on there and do it."
That's
you know?
that's
That's
what
how we
I
all-
saw.
that's
He
how
did
we
it.
all
He's like,
started.
you just stack these boxes up and
Yeah. I had I still remember. I don't know why people say that. I still remember. Obviously, you still remember. You're bringing it up, right? But I remember when John Wade Boggs fan, he had reached out to me on Facebook. He sent me a message. And he was like, "I'm thinking about doing
Rick is just talking shit on us.
a video," and I'm like, "Yeah, you should do it." And so he sent it to me, and I'm like,
Who is this?
John Wade Boggs fan. I'm like, "Oh my god, this dude's so much more professional than me. He has that fancy microphone. He did such a great job." I'm like, "What were you waiting for?" And Reese, Card Ranger ND, he did the same thing. He reached out and then he sent his first one, a link, and he did such a great job. And when these people are like reluctant to do it, and then you watch it, and it's so good, it's like, why are you reluctant?
Yeah, it's outstanding. I mean, you see, yeah, it's just in so many different angles on it. I mean, like Cooter again is talking about the stories that accompany the cards.
Yeah.
Like I'm going through and I pull this card out of this collection. I thought, maybe somebody might like it, and I'll just bring it at the National, John. This is that card you wanted. The winner celebrate. You wanted a better copy. It's like, this card isn't that meaningful to me, but for Pirate fans, for you, I'm like, man, take the card, go. Like it's just the stories behind it, and why you gravitate to it. I
used to drink with Maz. I love that card, dude.
Really?
I was in Pittsburgh.
I hung out with everybody in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah, this card. Imagine the stories like people have about this card.
I've been trying to get that
Man,
card.
I just love that card. That's from the height of my youth.
That card is way overpriced in my opinion right now. I've been
It
looking
is.
for
You used to be able to get it for like $5.
They're $80 graded.
$80.
In a 7 or 8.
Man, I don't know what happened after 2020. You can get one of those for like $5.
I've been looking for that card big time.
Oh yeah.
If you didn't watch him, like younger players have younger people have no idea how awesome of a season he had. And he only had one brilliant season, but it was so brilliant that you want his card,
And that was, I think, I was like 4 or 5 at the time. That was the season I think the Bad News Bears movie came out too.
It was right around there. It's
77.
very
just
possible.
the stories behind him. What a character.
Oh, 76 was a season, right?
And they said that he came back and was favoring his one knee. And that just screwed him up.
Yeah.
And then it hurt his arm and he was done.
So listen to these numbers from this card. 19-9, 2.34 ERA, 250 innings. You know how many strikeouts he had?
And let me tell you something. The 1977 Detroit Tigers, they weren't the greatest team on the planet.
Yes, for sure. They were bad. This would be like winning 30 games with the Reds.
Yeah. When you were on the 61 Yankees, it wasn't that hard to win a game.
Yeah.
When you're on the 77 Tigers, it was a little harder to win a game.
Rick, we'll let you know what night the party is once you let us know when you're buying the keg and all
Rick,
the alcohol.
Send him a link. Are you going to go live with me?
Yeah, come on, Rick.
Come on, Rick. Don't be that way.
True story. My 54 Jackie Robinson was used in an armed robbery. We got to hear that.
What? Who?
Cooter Lev.
It was used in an armed robbery. How? Wow.
I don't know.
We'll have to hear that story.
That's the story.
I got to hear that one.
Fidrich had 94 strikeouts and 250 innings.
You got some Rick.
That's it.
George could send it if he would come get on, but he ain't going to get on.
No, Rick won't get on. I can't say what I was going to call. Children might be watching.
So when did you start collecting again? You were out of it for a while, right?
Yeah, it's like 3 or 4 times. So I started in 76, quit in the mid 80s or early 80s for high school. Got back into it in the 90s up until 2008. And I've only been back in it the last 3 or 4 years.
Our schedules almost match up perfectly about the
And
time.
we're close.
Zach.
We're like a year apart.
Yeah, so it makes sense. I mean, I think most of us have gone through that where you hit high school and you're chasing girls and stuff and baseball cards. you don't really care about them. Then you get into your 20s and you start dabbling a little bit again, and then maybe you get married, then get your first, just working hard or whatever, and then you get a little older, a little bit more money, and I don't know, you open a box of your cards or something triggers it, or you're in a card shop, or you stumbled on a card show at the mall or something, and it got you back, interested. And then you get to be our age, and you're just, man, you give anything to go back and be a kid again. And that's part of what baseball
big part
cards
of
do.
this.
Yeah.
Look at that.
And I just wonder, like, when these young kids who are, they don't even want to go play a ball game because they're in front of their computers playing video games. When they be our age, like, is anybody even going to care about sports or cards or anything? Because there's like a war on masculinity right now, where sports aren't even, they're starting to be almost put down.
Well, it's like I was telling you today. My son, we're down here on vacation. He's at the hotel. He's 16. I'm like, why don't you come over with me? You guys got some really great stuff. Let's check it out. Nah, I'm good. I'm just gonna hang here at the pool. I'm like, it's so disappointing because you want to share it. Like, George, I think your kids are kind of involved, and that's pretty cool.
My youngest son, he was at the show with me today, but my middle son, he doesn't really want to go. He would go sometimes, but my youngest son stays with me the whole show and trades cards and stuff, which is cool. But he's more into baseball than his brother. He plays Little League. They both play Little League, but he plays club baseball now. So it's interesting to me. Like, I see a lot of guys at shows that, and again, it's a monthly show, and then we go to other shows, but I see a lot of people that are our age getting back into it. I had a dozen conversations today about guys, like, I'm just trying to get my feet wet again. And they're like, between 45 and 55, and they're getting back into it. And then I see a lot of kids, but what I try to do is I try to always bring a box of junk wax to the shows, like 90 Fleer or something like that. And any kid who comes by who's like 15 and under, I'm like, take a pack. And they're like, look around like they're stealing. I'm like, take a pack.
Right.
They get a chance to open up, because it's like, to me, it's like, it's all about earning some allowance money, going to the store, getting some cards, opening those cards, having a great time. And it's like these days with packs being like so ridiculous.
Yeah, you don't have enough allowance.
Go ahead, John. Sorry.
No, I was just saying you don't have enough allowance. It's no longer allowance money.
Yeah.
Now it's like Bitcoin money.
They're not made for kids either.
No, they're not made for kids.
They're made for us.
That's the thing that bothers me the most. They should make some sets. They used to have like Topps Total and stuff that were $1 a pack.
Yeah.
They need to have
stuff
that
back.
Buy, and that they can go out, with a little bit of money that they earn or their allowance money, whatever, without mom and dad having to buy them a $300 box for their birthday.
Yeah. Why should a kid have to pay? Pokemon is like $5 a pack. Baseball cards are maybe about that much or more. You can get hangers still for like, if you can find them, they're like $10. But still, it's like kids need to open cards to enjoy it. And again, like you said with the Bitcoin, like to actually touch something, to say, hey, I got this piece of Jackie Robinson jersey. I'm touching it. This is cool, right? That's what you need, is that tactile connection.
I think that's coming back, actually. Like, there are a lot more children in it, I think, than like in 2012.
Yeah.
It certainly seems that way. And I think what happened was a lot of them did get burned out. They're locked down with COVID, and they're on their computers. I think there are those kids that are looking for something real again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it would be good if they decided to do something that was geared towards giving kids an option for a $1 or $2 pack. The Dollar Tree packs are good for kids. They're like, when they used to have them, they were like $1. Like in 2020, we'd get some Donruss or Panini or whatever. They were $1 for 5 cards. And that was great. And I go buy them all out. And they're like, why are you buying them out? I'm like, I'm giving them my kids, man. I'm not like, right. So everybody has a different opinion. But you have to keep kids involved, or this hobby has no future.
Yeah, if you ask me, the number one thing that has changed, what were cards always meant to be?
Well, you got to eat your stats.
They were always meant to be collected, right? You had a collect all 60, collect all 20. They were meant originally, there were so many set collectors. You would try to put that set together, especially the smaller sets. And there's no such thing as set collecting anymore. You got to get 3,000 different rainbow colors. You got the refractors. Like, you might be able to do a base set, but that's no fun. Who wants a freaking base set, right?
Well, that's what we used to collect.
I mean, we have base sets, and most of us who get them are kept in a box. You never even freaking unwrap the plastic and look at
sets because I'm like,
but buying a box set is way different.
I'm talking about when we were kids. It was there were no parallels. It was a
right. But you could collect that set. There's no set collectors anymore.
Right.
I remember the first time I ordered a set was 1981, and I ordered the whole set. I'm like, I go out, I buy all these packs and everything, and I'm like, let me just get the whole set. And it was so disappointing because when it arrived finally, I was so excited, and I opened that thing up, and I was like, they're packed in there. You can barely get them out, right? So you have to like squeeze a few out so you can get your fingers in there, and you pull them out. And they're all nice and crisp, and you look through them, and you're like, okay, this is disappointing. There was no work involved. There was nothing. Like, you didn't.
There's no chase.
You didn't go get the packs and hope to get your favorite player.
I need these for you.
Right, or your team, and check it and say trade to get the ones you needed or whatever. It was just so disappointing that I didn't buy another complete set ever. It was the best complete set I ever bought.
I don't buy
the first and only one.
I don't buy modern. So.
Because it wasn't fun.
They need to bring back gum. Can I get some gum? Like, I would go and I'd buy 10 packs, right? And they were like 1984, let's say 35 cents. I gathered all my money, and my mom begged, Mom, take me to Circle K, which is like a Wawa or whatever, wherever side of the country you live on. Take me to Circle K. And so finally, after like bugging her for like 2 days, she takes me to Circle K. I get there, and all they had, I want to buy 10 packs. All they have left is like 5. I'm like, they had 10 the other day. So I get the 5 packs. I go home. I open them. And even if I didn't get the Don Mattingly I was looking for, or the Wade Boggs, or whatever, the strawberry, I still had 5 sticks of gum that I'd shove in my mouth, and I'd be happy as a clam. Bring me some gum, man. I need some gum. I don't care about the gum stains on the cards. I want to open packs and have a stack of gum. I just love that. I think it's great.
Yeah, so you remember that when Bo Jackson came up, they had that the one with he's in an Auburn jersey.
Oh, the classic.
Or whatever, and a baseball bat.
It's called classic
game. And you can only get that in the classic game, right?
In the game. Why am I buying a game? I want some gum.
Yeah, so my friends and I, we're in high school, right? And we're in high school, and we're going to toy store after toy store trying to find that damn game. And I remember when I first found one, I was so excited. I still have the complete game today. Still have the whole. I didn't even open the cards for the longest time, but like in the early 2000s, I opened it finally, and I put them all in an album. But I still have the game intact. I was, kept it nice and protected. But I looked everywhere for that darn game. By the time I was looking for it, it was already popular amongst collectors, and everybody was gobbling them up.
Yeah, Bo Jackson took the hobby by storm, and that whole 87, 86 time was just crazy with that.
I always have this one out because it's just so indicative of that time period,
That guy, Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean, what a phenomenal athlete. But when you speculate, right, you got to look to guys like this. The path repeats itself. You always got to be careful. There's, for every Mike Trout, there's somebody that blew out their knee or got injured or, God forbid, died in a car crash or look at Rocco Baldelli, got sick. He was, a high prospect, and some just flub like Joe Charbonneau.
Right.
So you got to be careful. Some people have one great year, like Mark Fidrich. We were just talking about him. Well, I mean, if he would have played 20 years, what would that card be worth? But he didn't. He had a phenomenal year. How about Fernando Valenzuela? When he was young, for the first 2-3 years, man, he was the most exciting thing on the planet.
Absolutely.
His cards aren't expensive.
No, you can get those all day long.
And there are a lot of players like that, when we were watching them, they were just Don Mattingly's like that. Don Mattingly was unreal.
Doc
But-
Good,
but he gets
Darryl
hot.
Strawberry.
Yeah.
Those two, I was like,
Daryl Strawberry had the prettiest
He
swing
did.
I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just so pretty. He was so excited. And Doc Good.
Man. Doc Good was 19 when he was doing
So
that.
for those of us who watched him, I mean, we all want their car. We all want their, but it's not expensive.
Yeah, I don't.
You know.
I can't think of a better pitcher that I have ever seen in my life than Doc Gooden in 1985.
Exactly.
And if you look at wins above replacement, it's all a bunch of old black and white photos on season wins above replacement. It's all a bunch of old black and white photos of white guys, and then on Baseball Reference, and there's just one guy in there and this young black guy, and it's Doc Gooden.
Yeah.
It's like his wins above replacement that season was out of control, and I mean like Steve Carlton in '72 and stuff. But that for me, I have in my life have never seen a season like that.
Oh, he was phenomenal.
Yeah, J.R. Richards. There's another good one.
Yeah, J.R. Richards, another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got sick, and that was the end of that.
Yeah, I mean the Astros.
Watched him. I still want his cards. I still have all his cards.
Right.
I want them.
Right.
But you know, a lot of these people are lost to history, and it's what I say. A lot of times, I will show the old vintage guys, and I will say, if you don't know this player, he's one of the best players you don't know. You know, like Cy Williams, Indian Bob Johnson. You know, Fred. What's his name? Fred Tenney. Fred Tenney, the first baseman. You know, back in the T206 era, he was a good ball player. Guys like those.
You know who's been at a lot of the card shows in Cleveland, Pittsburgh? Sam McDowell.
Oh yeah. Sam
He's got a
McDowell.
book. He's always sitting there signing, but he could throw it.
Well, Phil Niekro. I mean, Phil Niekro was a great pitcher, man. You could pick his cards up for next to nothing. There are just some guys that, you know, nobody seems to want. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and everybody is so afraid of missing out on the next Mike Trout. It's like this fear, and that's what drives these cards of Gleyber Torres and all these guys up. Like he could be the next Trout, or in football, he could be the next Brady. It's like, or in basketball, he could be the next LeBron, he could be the next Kobe, next Duncan. There's only one Mike Trout. There's only one Tom Brady. There is Tom. I mean, this is like you can play this game all day. I was going to say Super Joe, Juan Samuel, Kevin McReynolds. You know, all these dudes that were like good players. And if you told me that Don Mattingly wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame in 2022, I'd tell you were crazy back in 1985.
I would have too.
You know, so many other players.
What's always been blown my mind is, and maybe not with Tom Brady and maybe not with current prices, but for the longest time, you would have to pay more for somebody who they thought might be the next Tom Brady than actually Tom Brady.
Yeah, Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert go for more money than most Tom Brady rookies if they're short print. It's crazy. I got to go for a second, guys. I'll be back shortly.
Okay.
Few minutes. A minute.
Don, what do we got there? Anything
Indian
exciting?
Bob should be in the Hall of Fame. Played for the Philadelphia A's.
Wait, who?
Indian Bob.
Indian Bob should be in the Hall of Fame. I'm with you. That guy has to be one of the best players not in the Hall of Fame. Indian Bob Johnson. You know, my problem with the Hall of Fame is it's mostly longevity and total stats. Even if the last 10 years you're limping around and you're a DH,
there shouldn't be a
as
level
long as you're racking up stats, then that's cool. Even though, like, if you were the best player for 7 or 8 years in all of baseball, you might not get in the Hall of Fame because maybe you didn't play 24 years.
The Hall of Fame to me is supposed to be the greatest.
The greatest.
There shouldn't be like.
I don't know when
and
it
I'll
became
say this,
about longevity.
It's like, well, he's a tier 2 Hall of Famer. You know, he's a Hall of Famer, but he's not on the level of Ruth and Aaron and Mays. To me, you should be on that level, or you shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean, I said,
and if you don't get in on the first ballot, and I know back in the 30s and 40s, like DiMaggio, I don't think got in on the first ballot.
no, nobody gets. Yeah,
which is stupid. But in today's game,
let me tell you
I
something.
always felt if you can't get in on the first ballot, you're not a Hall of Famer.
Let me tell you something. Any sports writer who didn't vote for Joe DiMaggio knows nothing about baseball. Any sports writer who didn't vote for Ty Cobb or Babe Ruth, neither of which got 100%, know nothing about baseball.
Right.
I feel like, what's that guy? Mad Money. You know nothing. You know nothing about baseball. If you didn't put Babe Ruth and Ty Cobb in on the first, give them 100% vote, you know nothing about baseball. And Joe DiMaggio to not get in on the first ballot, you know nothing about baseball.
Andrew Jones put himself out of the Hall of Fame.
All right, I got some thoughts on this.
Huh?
I heard you guys. I was like, yeah, they're talking about the Hall of Fame. They're talking about all this BS. Mariano Rivera, first unanimous Hall of Famer.
Shouldn't have been.
Great player, but come on. This is my Michael Irvin. Come on, man.
Well,
Come on, man.
was the first one. Babe Ruth wasn't, Willie Mays, Ty Cobb.
Yeah, I mean,
Dang.
come on. I mean, I understand when you talked about DiMaggio not getting in. They were like really slow in inducting people, right, at a certain point, and
like all their buddies in. Like there's
Yeah.
tons of guys. that
How
shouldn't
about
be in.
Ralph Kiner? Ralph Kiner is the only player in history to lead the league in home runs his first 7 straight years. And that should get him in the Hall of Fame right away. But
if Ralph Kiner was in year 7 today, his rookie card would be worth $10,000.
yeah,
The short print, parallel of Ralph Kiner.
really unfair how long they made him wait. I mean, he's on Ted Williams' all-time 20 best hitters list. Just for the fact that he did that feat, he should, for me, that should get you in the Hall of Fame, even if you only played 10 years. If you played 10 years and led 7 of them with home runs, you should be in the Hall of Fame. To me, I don't think you need to play 20 years and just keep adding stats, even though your last 5 years you could barely walk. And you're getting up there as a DH just to rack up some stats.
Right.
Come on.
If there's a big debates, like as much as we love Mazeroski, he's not a Hall of Famer.
No way.
He's
No
the best
way.
defensive second baseman ever.
No, he's not a Hall of Famer. No, he is, but he's not.
He's the best defensive second baseman ever.
That doesn't mean that's like. I mean, you could,
Okay,
he's
and you want Ozzie Smith out because he couldn't hit for shit.
I agree.
Ozzie Smith turned himself into a 300 hitter and he stole a lot of bases. But and Mazeroski's
Ozzie Smith wasn't a 300 hitter.
later in his career he did. He turned himself into like a 300 hitter.
He didn't have the power that Maz had. Maz has way more home runs.
He has no power. You're right. Well, Maz is part of history because of the home run, right? Just like Gil Hodges recently got in because of his
Maz is
affiliation
the
with the
best
Dodgers.
second baseman that ever
He
played.
does hold the record.
Watch some film on that guy.
Dude, Ozzie Smith's batting average was 262. Would you say at the end of his career?
Well, at the end of his career, he started to hit close to 300.
Yeah, but the first half of his career, he hit in the 100s. Just because you can do backflips and shit doesn't put you in the
He hit
Hall of
over
Fame.
300 one time, 303.
Toward the end of his career, you're talking like 280, 285 in that range, right?
285, 295, 288, 262, and then 199. But that was
Omar
only
Vizcaíno should be in then too.
No. He's got a pending sexual assault case, doesn't he?
But when you think of Maz, you don't think DiMaggio, Aaron, like not on that level.
I don't
Those
care.
guys did everything.
I think if you were the best or even in the top 10 best at your position, you should be in the Hall of Fame. I mean,
So
people
do you
don't
want a Hall of Fame where you just let people in, like where it's like a love fest all the time?
Fences. Yeah, I've had people tell me when I say about Tatis Jr. having leading the league in errors every single year, they say that doesn't matter because he can hit. Like nobody cares about defense anymore.
Well, you can't diminish Ozzie Smith and pump up Mazeroski if that's the argument. It's either both or none.
No. You said Maz shouldn't be in, and I told you if that's the case, then Ozzie shouldn't be in.
And I didn't say
I
Ozzie
think
shouldn't be
Ozzie
in.
could be in for his defense only. No, I'm saying he should.
I'll put it this way: there was not a time in my baseball card collecting life that I ever pulled Ozzie Smith out of the Commons pile. That might sound ridiculous, but I never pulled him out of the Commons pile. I pulled out Steve Carlton's, I pulled out Tom Severs, I pulled out Don Mattingly's and Rod Carews, but I never thought Ozzie Smith. I mean, he was great, but he just didn't hit.
He paid attention to him until later on in his career. I mean, I don't remember him being much of anything early on. I mean, they traded, Gary Templeton for him.
And he was supposed to be way better.
Gary Templeton. I was a Gary Templeton fan. Now I know he flipped off the whole crowd, but
yeah.
I actually have Gary Templeton's game used signed hat right here when he was with the Mets. I
didn't even realize
The 77
Did you set that up? Did you set that up? And
No.
just like, I got to mention Gary Templeton.
No, the 77 Gary Templeton is one of my favorite all-time
Yeah.
cards, believe it or
Yeah.
not. And I was a fan of his.
Yeah,
And
he was good, but
Nobody thought St. Louis got such a great deal, at the time of the trade, obviously.
Right.
Like when Steve Carlton was traded, everybody knew it was a stupid trade. Like when they traded Ozzie Smith, people didn't realize it was a stupid trade yet.
yeah.
The stupidest trades. Throw Lou Brock in there. So St. Louis was on both ends.
I'll tell you what, have you ever watched Lou Brock in the 68 World Series?
No.
Man, I'll tell you what, that guy had a brilliant World Series. Brilliant. And you don't think of Lou Brock as being such a great hitter and everything, but man, if you go watch that World Series,
Got 3,000 hits.
yeah. They couldn't get him out. They
There
couldn't
you
get him
go,
out.
George.
My son picked this up today. It's a Lou Rock relic.
Lou Brock or
Lou-
Lou Brock?
You said Lou Brock.
It's going to be on Lou. My son's going to do a Lou Rock response.
You've been watching too much YouTube.
Yeah, right. But yeah, on this, it talks about the fact that he has the all-time leader in World Series steals, 14, and in that World Series, he had 7 stolen bases in the World Series. I mean, that's like having these days. That'd be like having 7 home runs in a
Well,
World
imagine
Series.
how many times he had to get on to have 7 stolen bases.
Oh
That's
yeah,
what I'm saying. He lit it up in that World Series.
yeah. He
And of course,
if you were in the playoffs, you want this guy on your team, like big time, like Clemente and Aaron and the guys who in the biggest games, the guys Ruth, these guys did what they needed to do.
Right.
There was no they weren't shying away from the pressure. I mean, these guys did well in the regular season and even better in the postseason.
so you want to hear something interesting? It was either the first or second game I ever went to. My grandparents took me to a game at Three Rivers Stadium, and the opposing player got a hit and stole second base, and the entire stand stood up and gave him a standing ovation. And I'm looking at my grandparents, and I asked my grandma, I'm like, why are they cheering for the opposing team? And it was Lou Brock shortly after he broke the record with 118.
Was that Murray Wills? Did he broke it?
Yeah, Murray Wills had 104. So Lou Brock broke Murray Wills' record at 104. Murray Wills broke, I think, Ty Cobb's record. And there was a guy back in the day, Billy Hamilton,
Billy Hamilton.
1800s. And he was like a phenomenal base dealer, I guess.
Hey, Ruben, where in Pittsburgh do you live? That's in Monroeville Mall.
Steph!
We're laughing. She should be here shortly.
Nah, you know what? It's past her bedtime. She's sleeping.
Oh, is she? You're done.
I'm going to have to go get my own.
It's Father's Day Eve, guys. This is a
Oh,
good.
that's
This is
true.
great.
I forgot about that.
So I should get a drink then.
I'm just saying.
Hey, is anybody getting baseball cards for Father's Day? I don't.
I hope I get an eBay gift card and then I will go immediately and spend it.
Yeah, my daughter will buy me boxes. She'll bring me boxes of cards, which is cool. But like nobody knows what to get me, and man, I have, how would you know what to buy for somebody that has that many cards? Like, does your family even know what, to get you?
No.
In a way of picking up a vintage cards or something.
My
My family wouldn't know where to begin.
Hey, Christmas,
What do you think, Don?
I buy cards or packs. I give them to my wife and say, here, have the kids wrap these for me. Because
That's a way to do it. But I mean, even if they went to the store, they wouldn't know condition. They
No.
wouldn't know this.
No.
They wouldn't even know how to buy a card.
Right.
What to look for.
I like
remember-
the 62 Mays too, Dylan. Dylan says Mays look great on baseball cards.
No, but she sure does look good on this Briggs meat. One of his 2 rarest cards. I think it's his rarest.
What's his other rarest?
It would be the 64 Meadows Dairy, which they were little tiny squares.
You have it?
That are cut off of milk cartons. They came in all 4 of them came. There was only 4 cards. It was Mickey Mantle, Willie Mays, Sandy Koufax, and Bill Mazeroski. Those are the only 4.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Yeah, May's always, not always, but oftentimes looks distressed in his photos, right? He's got a great 1960 card, but he's kind of like this. He's always kind of.
The 60 I like, but how about the 61? He looks
without the hat.
he looks high or
I
something
hate
in the
that.
61.
He's going like that again. Those 61s, you can't take pictures of baseball players without hats on and put them on baseball cards. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
Well, Ernie Banks' 61 cards the same way.
Oh yeah.
It's like I told you on the phone the other day. Jackie Robinson's Leaf card looks like he just smoked 3 joints. His eyes are all like down.
Oh, don't say that. To
I
Joe.
know it's not. I don't
Man.
think it's a good-looking card.
Well, you haven't seen a good copy. I'll show you a good copy.
Like half open. That's why I
No.
picked one up growing up because I never liked it.
That's one of the reasons why it was one of the last ones I got. I mean, to me, yeah, Don and I have talked about this ad nauseum. 50 Bowman, 49 Bowman, really beautiful cards. I mean, a lot of his cards are really beautiful, frankly. But
I mean, the 50, and they're probably his least valuable ones, but the 56 and the 55s, those are beautiful cards. Like, I think the 56 is his nicest looking card. And, of course,
I think 50 Bowman.
50 Bowman's nice, but you can't even tell it's Jackie Robinson. It could be anybody. Like, you can't
no,
face or anything.
The stand-
no.
I mean, the stance is, yeah, but you it's a painted on stance, but the 56 is just beautiful.
It's
This is, we all disagree on lots of things, so it's okay.
well, they're cool, but I mean, like,
but
yeah,
also-
some people don't like.
Just seem to, for some reason, throughout my entire collecting career, the cards that I don't like seem to be worth the most. You know what I mean? It's like that's how it always works out for me. Like I hated the '89 Upper Deck Ken Griffey Jr. Like, I don't know. I felt like I was dating the guy. It's like a close
like the
up
Mariano
with
Rivera rookie.
chains. I like the tops
There's one
better.
of the best cards that's underrated right over there. It's a 55 Bowman Bob Feller. That's a great card.
Yeah, that's a cool card. He's holding
Feller
that ball.
cards are way underrated.
Well,
Yeah,
Don,
Beautiful.
knowing I got one for you, Don. This is one of the great images in like when I think of a pitcher. When I think of a pitcher, this
Oh,
image,
50 Bowman. I love that.
50 Bowman Bob Feller. This just for some reason just sticks with me as like a great image of a pitcher. And like when I was a kid, I tried to pitch like this. I always did a big windup. And it's like, man, I know you love 50 Bowman, but there's so many classic images like this Feller and the
That's one of best
Yogi.
cards. Someone just got one of those recently. I forget who showed it on their channel. I don't know if it was John Wade Boggs fan or somebody, but I love that card.
Yeah, I mean, there's all these
His
these
50,
people.
his 52 tops is one of my favorites too, with the yellow background.
Oh, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. I just, Bob Feller, Bob Feller walked around with a guy had done statistics of if he had not gone off to war, and his statistics basically were comparable to Walter Johnson's wins, and like over 400 wins, and he kept this card in his pocket and would walk around with this card after he retired because he missed all that time for being in the 2 wars, right?
Right.
It's like, he was just unbelievable. Just unbelievable. Like Musial not getting the love in the hobby he should.
Dude, you guys can't believe this. I mean, Mangini does this all the time, but I'm just sitting here. It's like a kid in a candy store. You just pull out. Awesome.
Is that Chief Bender, Don? Is that Chief Bender?
Yes. Just happens to have a Chief Bender sitting right here next to me. Just one of these.
Oh man, that's a beauty. Look at how yellow that is.
I know. Just happen to have a Tris speaker laying around.
Speaker.
Just on his table here. Yeah, it's I feel very fortunate to be able to come here and visit him in his room. It's so much fun. He truly does have a little museum in here, and he pulled out these boxes like he was saying in the other room. It's just the cards. It's just like kidding me. These he's got boxes like we have like 89 Donruss tops. Oh, here's my Cracker Jack box or my T205. It's just so much fun.
Hey, what's up, Brew Dog? So let me in the back there between the Pirates. What's that?
Brewdog's telling me to take the cards out of my pocket. I already put them in my car.
Yeah, the alarm's going to go off when you leave.
Yeah, I loaded up.
So behind your arm there, between the Pirates and the Giants, is that card down there? Is that a worldwide gum, like a 1936 worldwide gum?
You mean this?
Oh, Ty Cobb. Okay.
That's a piece of wood.
Oh, okay. See, from a distance, it looked like
Yeah.
a worldwide gum card to me.
Looks like somebody gifted it to him.
Gotcha. So Don, Rick was asking earlier, is there anything that you're targeting for the National, or any specific player, year, anything that comes to mind?
I really don't. I mean, I would love to get that 48 leaf musial, but I don't know. That it keeps going up, and I really don't. I'm just gonna, there's a few minor Hall of Famers, the 1950 Bowman set that I need. So I might be looking for some of those guys, but I don't have a big card on my agenda. What about you?
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I mean, there's some that I'd like. I mean, that Walter Johnson he was showing, that looks great.
Yeah.
I don't have any tobacco cards, so that would be kind of number one on my list.
Wait.
What?
You said you don't have any tobacco cards.
No.
None.
I only have
No. No.
You have like 10 of everything.
Well, I might have 10, like 60 Hank Aaron's, but I don't have 10, I don't have 10 Walter Johnsons.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, I know about tobacco cards. I was telling him for the National, yeah, I'd like to try to pick up a Walter Johnson. He just showed your PSA one that's really yellow and awesome.
My cards.
I pretty much have. I'm not Lou Rock, man. I'm not shy.
Don's not
Where
shy.
else am I going to see these?
Yeah,
So,
so
George, so that's a goal of yours at the National?
I'm not sure what I'm going to get. I mean, there's ones that are on the list. The E101 Matheson's on the list if you can find one, or a Dockman and Sons Matheson.
Dockman and Son. That's the one that turned me on to this, but I found this one, and I couldn't find the Dockman and Sons.
You're killing me, John. You're killing me.
I mean, either one. The same with the Honus Wagner.
Beautiful.
101, but they're both the same image in the Dockman and Sons.
Yeah,
And
that's that.
companies, right? They just had different backs, so who
Right.
cares?
Yeah, the art on that is beautiful.
George, like I bought probably 5 or 6 cards that really weren't on my radar, but then they were good price. I liked them. Like the 48 leaf Honus Wagner. I didn't go there looking for that card, but then I saw a great example of one at a great price. I mean, it's obvious stuff I wanted, but it wasn't like I got to find this Honus Wagner.
So for either of you, is it like something important at the National? Like, are you going to be seeking out a tobacco card, or just that one specific one? Like, if you found a Tris speaker, would you get it?
If I found a Cracker Jack Tris speaker, I get it. That would be awesome. That's a beautiful one too. Don's,
Don, my Cracker Jack Tris speaker. It's a beautiful card.
with the glove in the back pocket, like he's like some 8-year-old.
Yeah, right.
Well, where I am in my collecting now is I just go for opportunity. Like I don't have anything in mind. It's like if I see something I need and it's a card I've been looking for, or maybe it's a card I just discovered I didn't even know existed, and it's a fair price. That's what I go for now. I don't really seek out too many cards. Like I used to be.
I had made a list. I had made a list back like 3 years ago based upon YouTube. Like I had made a list of, I'm going to pick up a Leaf Jackie. I'm going to pick up a Mays rookie. I'm going to pick up a Williams rookie. I'm going to pick up this, and this. And it's like, I pretty much knocked the list out now, but it hasn't been me intending to actually, I tried to, it's the first time I ever made a list. I'm like you. I just buy what I feel like is a good deal, but more, and also what looks nice. Like I'll pay more for what looks nice.
Me too.
Yeah, it's like if I, like people may not like the worldwide gum compared to the Gaudi, but if I were to, I stumbled at a show in September, I stumbled upon a Lou Gehrig worldwide gum 34, and it was really nice. And I did everything I could to trade cards and do whatever and get money to buy it, and I did. But it's like I didn't go into the show thinking I wanted to buy that card, but when I saw it, I'm like, wow.
Right. Yeah.
This is it's the grade doesn't matter. This happened to be a 3, but it was just the color. It could have been a 1. It didn't matter.
Right.
It's just something like that is what I look for.
George Mikan.
George Mike.
No, but I have the Wheaties, and I have a full Wheaties box too. One of those little mini.
You
Wheaties
showed that
box.
recently.
No, it's been it was a while back.
There was some. You didn't. I thought you said you wanted one that had the top.
Oh no, you're thinking of the no, yeah, that Wheaties strip. But I have a George Mikan, like the mini boxes. I have a full mini box of them.
John,
And
do you collect much?
I have. That's the portrait. I have the action shot, which I prefer action shots over portraits. Like I said earlier, I don't want to date these guys. I don't need a portrait. I like action shots. But he has a really great exhibit card, and I'd love to get that, but that's actually pretty pricey. Because anytime a guy's main card, like Bill Russell, Honus Wagner because of the T206, Mickey Mantle because of the 52. If it wasn't for the 52 Mickey Mantle, every Mickey Mantle on the planet wouldn't be selling for thousands. Like, it's just every other card is overpriced. And I always felt that way about Honus Wagner. Like, if it wasn't for the T206, his cards would be pricey, but I don't think they would be as high. Like Shoeless Joe Jackson, if it wasn't his story, like, I don't care. You just put Joe Jackson on any card, it sells for a fortune, right?
Yep.
I mean, even if you want to get that the Fatima team issue with it.
That used to be the cheap one.
Yeah, that's the cheapest one. That you're going to pay a couple grand. I mean, the 1940, long after his playing days, you're going to pay $2,500 for a lower end
Joe
top.
Jackson or
Joe Jackson.
Shoeless Joe. Yeah.
So some of these guys just have, like Chick Gandil. Chick Gandil's not in a Hall of Fame. He wouldn't have been in a Hall of Fame if he continued to play. But you want his Cracker Jack card, it's going to cost you $1,000. And he's fun to collect because he was a Black Sox. But you're not collecting him. Collectors aren't collecting him for his play on the field. They're collecting him for the story. And that happens a lot. And then you have other players. I was going to say earlier, like a couple of guys that are so undervalued in the hobby is Harmon Killebrew. Are you kidding me for what you have to pay for his cards? Next to nothing. And Al Kaline, super undervalued.
Brooks Robinson, except for his rookie.
Well, Brooks Robinson too, and even his rookie, I don't know what it sells for now, but it didn't used to sell for that much either. Frank Robinson, that guy was a phenomenal ball player.
Well, Al Kaline, I can see why Al Kaline. Some guys I feel like need to have like an MVP or signature season. They need to be like part of. Al Kaline was part of big moments later when he won the World Series in the late '60s, and the youngest guy to ever win a batting title. But he never like put together that season, right, where he was like the guy. Even though he's Mr. Tiger, Brooks Robinson won the MVP in 1966. Brooks Robinson has the most Golden Gloves of all time of any third baseman. I don't know. It's tough.
I mean, just his defense alone. Brooks Robinson, just that 1969 World Series,
69 or 70,
where he just went off.
Was it 71?
Eddie Matthews is another one. But how do you explain Harmon Killebrew? That dude was
he never won a World Series.
He was rookie card.
Well, but he was playing it I think part of it has to do with the fact that in the National League, those guys who were playing outfield were Mays and Mantle, or Mays and Clemente and Aaron and Robinson. And their numbers, they didn't hit as many home runs maybe, but their numbers were better. And then Killebrew, it was on the heels of Mantle. And Mantle just set this bar for a great outfielder in the American League. And Killebrew he won the MVP in '69.
You say Mantle was a great outfielder in the American League. How many Gold Gloves did he win? Do you know?
They didn't give the Gold Glove out when he was in his prime.
Yes, they did.
They gave it out later. What's that?
Do you know how many he won?
What year did they start giving out the Gold Glove?
Let me tell you that Willie Mays had 12.
Yes, and it's like, but that's Willie Mays.
But they came up the same year.
But by the time the 50s were over, Mantle was like heading to be washed up. He was.
You say that because he won one Gold Glove and it was in the 60s. I think 64.
But when did they start giving the Gold Glove?
What are you
I-
talking about? How did Willie Mays have 12
I'm gonna look.
same year?
No, I'm gonna look it up. I just didn't know. I thought they started giving away Gold Gloves in like the like late 50s or early 60s.
Well, I mean, if you look at their stats, Willie Mays beats him in every single stat. You can even put in your homemade, made-up stats like WAR. Beats him in that too. Beats him in every single stat ever. Batting average, like top, everything, absolutely every category he beats him in. But Mickey Mantle cards sell for 20 times what Willie Mays cards sell for.
Looks like.
Here we go. And I'm not, John. I'm not going to disagree with you. I mean, I agree. Mantle's overrated, but I looked it up. The Golden Glove Award started in '57. So yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, Mantle. I don't know.
No, I mean, he's there because he was a great home run hitter when he was young. You know, he before he hurt his knee, everybody wants. You know, he's the one player. Like if you talk about Gale Sayers, nobody says, oh well, he's the greatest running back because he hurt his knee. But when you talk about Mickey Mantle, well, he's the greatest player because he hurt his knee and he couldn't finish. Like he's the only one they ever say that about. But I mean, he was a great ball player. He was a great talent. He really was. But Willie Mays even beats him at home runs. And that's supposedly what he's in there for, the greatest home runs. Plus,
you got your boy
at the time of his retirement, he had passed Babe Ruth in all-time strikeouts. He was the all-time strikeout leader at the time of his retirement. Mantle, yeah.
Well, I mean, I know that he hurt his knee, though, in that World Series with the 51 World Series and DiMaggio's last year. I mean, he played his whole career with basically probably what was either a torn ACL or torn meniscus or both. And I think that that's the idea. Everybody I'm a pro Mays guy, but everybody I've ever talked to who's older, who's like, you know, saw Mantle play, talks about this. And Hank Aaron talked about it. He said, you know, what's that?
They're all from New York.
Yeah. But Aaron talks about it. Aaron said, you know, I was fortunate to break the home run record. It could have been Mays. It could have been Willie. It could have been Mickey. It's just Mickey had a bum leg, and I just was blessed with health. And then Willie had to go to San Francisco where the wind was blowing in all the time. So, I mean, like, you know, it's circumstance, I guess.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, hey, don't get me wrong. The Mick was a great baseball player. There's no doubt about it. But
his cards shouldn't be worth.
I'm just saying he wasn't. You know, his cards sell like Babe Ruth.
yeah, it's shocking when you look at a Mays rookie and a Mantle rookie.
Because of that 52 card, that the rest of his cards sell for so much more. Because your average person who never watched Mickey play, who doesn't know baseball maybe that well, all they know is that he's the most expensive card in baseball. And so they want all the other cards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Well, in my collecting career, like with vintage, I started collecting vintage like in the early 80s, even though I was collecting regular cards. And it's like, you heard all about Mantle. I go to the card shop as like a 10-year-old, and I'm looking down. These Mantle cards are like $60. I'm like, $60? That's like my whole summer. If I like mow yards all summer, man, I can get one beat the shit Mantle. And so, and I'm like, I didn't even know really anything about him. And then, and I saw Mays and Aaron, and then I looked at their statistics. And as like, you know, a 10-year-old digesting the statistics, I was like, wait a minute. The statistics of Aaron and Mays are way better. Like their career statistics are way better. I don't understand this. And it's like, you know, I only had to, over time, had to try to understand the mystique of Mickey Mantle. But I still I collected mid-grade Mantles in my collecting life. I have not tried to collect. Some guys like New York Yankees fan 7, I mean, they're trying to collect 7s, and it's pricey. It's
well,
pricey.
the thing, you know, it's a good lesson. And if there's anybody newer to the hobby watching, and this is just the way it is, it's like supply and demand, and they don't, you know, it's not necessarily the best players that command the best money, right? There are just certain players like, and you use the word mystique, and that's what it is. There's a mystique. Like Babe Ruth, you put his face on anything, no matter how stupid the card is, no matter how ugly the card is, it's gonna sell for thousands, right?
You're right. I mean, like, but it's like I was traveling with my friend's dad, and so I'm 50, and he's like, he grew up watching Mickey Mantle, and I asked him, he loves baseball, and I'm expecting him to give me a different answer, and he grew up not in New York. Who's the best baseball player he ever saw? Mickey Mantle. Mickey Mantle's my guy. It wasn't. He's the best baseball player I ever saw. My father-in-law says Willie Mays is the best baseball player he ever saw, but it was he's my guy. Like there's this passionate, allegiance to Mantle, and I mean I understand that to some degree when you really love a player, but it's like
I understand it too.
Clemente's your guy.
Clemente, but here's the difference. I don't think Clemente was better than Mays. I just like him more. But my dad told me too. Willie Mays was the best he ever watched. And everybody's dad, anybody that watched, baseball back then will tell you. Everybody will tell you. I've heard Caesar, Pepito Man, say it. Like if I have to pick the first player for my team, it's Willie Mays. But he says I love Mantle. It's his charisma or whatever. But that's a good lesson in cards, and it's been this way for years. Is that it's not always the best players that command the most money. I mean, Jackie Robinson is up there now with Babe Ruth and Mickey Mantle.
Look at all these high number cards.
But would you put him on the baseball level? Like Willie Mays was better than him too, but his cards were more than Willie Mays.
Yeah, the Jackie issue is not. It's influence. It's not. Yeah, he had a great season when he won the MVP in '49, and one of the best seasons of that decade.
Yeah, hey, all these guys we're talking about. Let me just be clear. They're all great baseball players. Any one of us would take them on our team any day. They're all phenomenal baseball players. I'm not arguing that. Mickey Mantle was a great baseball player. And he became what really put him on the map, probably more than anything, aside from all the championships. And you and I had that discussion about
that wasn't just him.
In baseball, does that even matter? Right? Like Atlanta won without Acuna. Does that mean Acuna sucks? But what really put him on the map was that 565-foot home run. It was like the first tape measure home run ever, right?
Yeah.
And I even dedicated a baseball card to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple comments, and we get some
at that moment.
Like the thought is Mays was kind of a jerk, and it's like his cards kind of you see on his cards. I just like 20 minutes ago talking about his disgruntled look on most of his cards. Mantle was this affable, even we later on found out he was drunk. It's like this affable guy, all-American boy on a winning team, just winning. Meanwhile, there's a guy in Milwaukee who's just quiet, like the Tim Duncan of baseball. And he just keeps doing his work like a yeoman, just keeps going every year. And it's like, but from a dynamic perspective, likability perspective, people liked Mantle, even though in Mays, just, I don't know, it's a lot of the likability factor to some degree. And then Aaron was so quiet. And then all of a sudden, he was always behind in the home run race. Like they're like, oh, these three guys are on pace to like do this, right? And then like there's that 73 all-time leaders, right? And it's got Ruth on the RBI list. Well, no, on the home run list. It's Babe Ruth and Mays. And everybody thought, oh, Mays is going to break the home run record if anybody does. It's not going to be that dude in Atlanta. He's old.
Oh, absolutely. Everybody thought it was going to be Mays. Absolutely. Yeah. It's one of my favorite cards of all time. I only have one picture of me as a kid with my cards, and that's the card I'm holding up. I just cherish that card.
The 73?
The 73 Babe Ruth, Willie Mays, and Hank Aaron. Those were like the three legends, man.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm seeing all these comments. There's Dave. This Falstaff's for you, but it's not a Falstaff. It's amazing to me how like this debate continues to go. It's and if you just look at the numbers, and then it's playoff numbers too, though. Like you said, John, about like why I think Clemente is. I love Clemente. He's my man, but he's not as good as Mays. But in the playoffs, in the World Series, he is. That's
only because Mays only played in one.
I know. Ted Williams only played in one, and he was hurt, and he hit like garbage, right? It's like, but those moments carry something. You bring a championship to Pittsburgh, carry something.
Elevated Reggie Jackson, for instance, and it elevated Willie Stargell too.
Yeah, 79 series.
Yeah, when
Just
somebody
like 71 did
when
for
somebody
Clemente.
steps up in the World Series,
Right.
it's a special thing. But the thing is the Yankees. I mean, they just went every year. Like they just had a phenomenal team. So, but you and I even talked about this. Like baseball is the least. You are the least impactful in winning a championship. LeBron James won an
Unless you're a
entire
pitcher.
NBA championship himself with Cleveland. He was the only one they had. Michael Jordan, won championships almost himself. Tom Brady, he never had a full formidable running back and almost never had a formidable receiver, and there were new guys every single year with him. But you can't do that in baseball.
No.
I don't care how good Mike Trout is. He's never going to win a World Series without pitching.
But Brady can get Brady, despite the fact those talented players, he had the greatest coach perhaps of all time. So he's able to put Brady in those situations and help him. In baseball, there's nobody to help you. If you're Mike Trout, there's nobody to help you. If you're a pitcher, if you're Koufax, then you can help yourself. And if and you can pitch 3 out of 7 games in a World Series, and you can have a shortened career and retire when you're 30. You know what I mean? Like even if you're the greatest pitcher ever, so it's just so tough in baseball. You're so right to be so impactful because it's a team game.
Yeah, going back to the Tom Brady example, I think back to Dan Marino. If they ever had a defense, any defense, any defense.
Yeah.
I mean, how many could he have won? Right?
Because their offense was unstoppable.
He was unstoppable. But
Brady had
but what I'm saying is one person doesn't really make a difference. But in baseball, it's the least, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter how many runs you score. If you don't have a pitching staff, you're done. Look at the Atlanta Braves. They had potentially the greatest pitching staff of all time. And how many World Series did they lose?
Oh.
How many did they lose?
One.
Right? And you look at the Purple People Eaters, the Minnesota Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
And how many did they lose?
4.
And in baseball, there have been a lot of phenomenal players. Come on,
Ernie Banks.
Ernie Banks is another one.
Yeah.
How many World Series did Ty Cobb win?
Honus Wagner kicked his butt.
Pittsburgh kicked their butt in 1909.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a young pitcher that he went 11 for 1 against him, Babe Adams, in 1909. I mean, 1 and 11. Sorry, 1 and 11. Yeah, I mean, but they went several times, but I don't think he won a lot. How many did they win? The Tigers with Ty Cobb. I'm just saying, one guy just doesn't. On baseball, it takes more than one guy. I mean, Mike Trout hasn't even sniffed anything. And
that's a big problem for baseball. Got
some of the best players in Ohtani,
right?
And they're not even sniffing anything.
Yeah. I mean, how is this possible? If you had Kobe Bryant and Tim Duncan on the same team, you'd be in the NBA Finals every year. I don't give a crap who your bench. You get some bench guys. I mean, it's crazy the fact that you have these 2 great players, and one is pitching and hitting, and you still don't get into the playoffs.
Baseball, it doesn't matter. You need way more than that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Look at Kobe and Shaq. I mean, they're going to be competitive every year. Just those 2 with a decent cast around them.
But you only have 5 players there. So if you got 2 of them, you've got...
I don't know. When Michael Jordan, everybody
40%.
wants to talk about how great certain players were around him.
Oh, here we go.
They didn't win anything when they left.
Right.
Everybody wanted to talk about how great Kyrie Irving was. What did he win when he left LeBron?
Look at the Warriors.
LeBron made him...
The Warriors didn't need Kevin Garnett
to
win.
They got Steph. But with Kevin Garnett, they're unstoppable.
Durant.
Impossible.
Durant.
Oh my God, Garnett, we're really showing our age. He's from here in South Carolina.
Is he?
Yeah, he got arrested young. He was in a big brawl, and they snuck him out of here and sent him away to school.
Yeah, it's like these getting into the playoffs. It's like that again. That's the cachet of we go back to Mantle and stuff. This winning these World Series. I was talking to a buddy of mine today about he's a huge basketball fan. He's a Laker guy, and he says to me, he's just getting back into cards, and he says to me, I'm a huge Laker fan my whole life, but the more that I study about the Boston Celtics, the more, I hate to admit it, the more I respect them and like them. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, we start talking about Bill Russell. And it's like, you won 11 championships. Like, this is like, you're not taking any days off. You are not like staying out late all the time. This guy is like there, like, even if you had Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and Tim Duncan on the same team, you'd have a hard time winning 11 championships. It's just a lot, like every year.
For years, when you said who's the greatest basketball player, everybody would say Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain was a special basketball player. He scored 100 points in a game. When he scored 100 points in a game, he became a household name. Bill Russell owned him. He ate him up every time they played. But Wilt Chamberlain is the name that everybody remembered, and everybody will tell you was the best before Jordan and LeBron, whatever. But yeah, and Kareem. But Wilt Chamberlain was the guy. But Bill Russell is the one who dominated.
I don't even know with Chamberlain.
One, I believe. I think he has one.
We're gonna lose battery life here soon.
I could be wrong.
Our battery's dying. We're gonna have to wrap this up, Joy. We've been on here for over 2 hours.
I know. It's a pre-Father's Day bonanza, man. This is it. We've had so many guys in the chat room, and some have been here. Double D's been here the whole time. It's just awesome. This is great. We've had all the guys here. This is awesome. It really is.
The wonderful thing about sports is we all disagree on everything. When it comes to cards, we all disagree on everything. Like, I like action shots. You probably like portrait shots. And that's okay. And that's what makes having sports talk fun, is debating those things. Because, quite honestly, none of us are right or wrong, right? We all have our opinion.
Nah, the 50 Bowman Jackie is one of the most beautiful cards.
Actually, I am right. I am right about one thing.
What, the Mazeroski should be in the Hall of Fame?
That anybody who didn't vote for Joe DiMaggio, Babe Ruth, or Ty Cobb to go in the Hall of Fame doesn't know baseball. I'm right about that. And it's always blown my mind, these sports writers who claim to be these brilliant baseball minds. Who doesn't?
These guys are a bunch of grudge-holding curmudgeons.
That's the problem. Look how long it took Jim Rice because they didn't like his personality. Well, the Baseball Hall of Fame isn't about personality, or there'd only be 5 people in there. Yeah. There are a lot of bad people in the NFL and baseball. Like, they weren't all saints.
Curt Schilling.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Curt Schilling's a Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Famer. But would he have been a Hall of Famer in 1970s? Maybe not.
Baseball.
It has nothing to do with it. But I'm telling you, if you didn't vote for Ty Cobb, Babe Ruth, Joe DiMaggio, like, you don't even know. Honus Wagner didn't get 100.
Hank Aaron.
Just insane.
It's yeah.
I think Derek Jeter got more votes than Honus Wagner.
By the way, I went to the Hall of. Only time I've been to Cooperstown is one time, and I went for the induction ceremony. It happened to be the year I was up there because my aunt has a place up in upstate New York, and I went, and it was when Ricky Henderson and Jim Rice were inducted, and I had never seen so many Jim Rice jerseys in my life, and I was so happy, man. He was just such a feared hitter. Like, he was like the Fred McGriff of his era. He was like the Richie Allen of his, again, mentioning guys who should be in, of his era, just a feared hitter.
I want to tell you something. When I first got on Facebook, I thought it was the dumbest shit I ever saw in my life. I didn't understand what I would ever use it for at that time. But one of my first posts was I found some baseball site. One of my very first posts is I was going off why Jim Rice and Andre Dawson weren't in the Hall of Fame. I remember.
Put Parker in there. He's right there with those.
Oh, Dave Parker. Who would you rather have in right field? You have to pick a right fielder, Harold Baines or Dave Parker. Come on.
Harold Baines doesn't play in the field.
That's
true.
I mean,
he wasn't a DH his whole career.
No.
It was pretty early on they converted him. I mean.
Well, there you go. Who would you rather have in right field, a DH or Dave Parker with the cannon arm?
Well, I mean, you went back. You were talking about when I left. This is like an hour ago. When I left, and hey, look, and I came back. You guys were talking about who got in the Hall of Fame, 100% votes, and you're talking about they're getting their buddies in. They're getting their buddies in. I mean, this is the Tony La Russa effect. This is a Tony La Russa effect. Getting Harold Baines in, and sorry, Bink, Scott Sorry, man. I like Harold Baines is a good hitter, but I'm just not seeing it, and it's over though. He was surprised he got in the Hall of Fame himself.
Yeah,
He
I
was.
mean, I don't necessarily think he should be a Hall of Famer, but I'm with Mike, baseball collector. He always says I'm a big Hall of Fame guy. I'm a big Hall of Fame guy. Like when I said Ralph Kiner, you know, if all he did was lead the league in home runs his first 7 years, to me, that's a Hall of Fame career, right? And I am in favor of this. So I don't have a problem with him being in. I have a problem that he's in and Dave Parker, like a guy like that. Harold Baines was never, ever considered in the top 10 or 20 players in any year, in any era.
MVPs.
He was never considered a top player.
Well,
Dave
that's what I'm saying.
Parker, At one time, was considered the best player in baseball.
Oh, I got a great trivia question for you guys. No, this is along those lines. Great players need to be, like you were saying, like I talked about Al Kaline. You need to have a signature season, and I think that's why Fred McGriff is not in the Hall of Fame right now. He never had a signature season. I remember playing fantasy baseball forever, and we're all waiting for the crime dog to have that 49 home run, 135 RBI kick-ass year, and he just never did. But he was consistent, just consistent. So here's a trivia question.
And that's how Harold Baines was. He was consistent year in, year out. You could rely on him.
Yeah, he was. He didn't have to play outfield.
Yeah, one of the guys I think is still underrated, and a lot of viewers, I'm sure, love him, and they appreciate him as much as me, is Vlad Guerrero. That guy was a beast. 327 lifetime batting average.
I think it's 319. I was going to say, but he's good.
For an arm. I mean, what I think he's underrated. I think his cards are undervalued.
I would agree with you. I think he got lumped in with the steroid guys.
Why? Did he take steroids?
I just think he played in that time period where people were suspicious. I think that, and he didn't. I don't think he's always been.
We're convicting guys before they're even guilty.
The Bonds
well,
been taking it.
Yeah, but we watched Bonds be a skinny little leadoff hitter, stolen base leadoff hitter, and we watched him grow.
Gain 60 pounds.
But Vlad, I don't know, but he was a phenomenal ball player. And I'll tell you what, George, I'll give you all the steroids in the world. It will not allow your arm to. You will not have his arm. I don't care. Steroids aren't going to give you that arm. They're not going to help you hit a 90-mile-an-hour fast.
Well, I'm not saying
wouldn't leave. I'll give you that.
I'm not saying in any way that Vladimir Guerrero Sr. is accused of doing steroids. I just think that he was in that time frame where these guys were using them. So there's kind of like this idea, he doesn't get the love, and he didn't stay with the same team, right? He was an Expo, then he was an Angel, then he was a Ranger. He didn't have the.
Shouldn't it be your play? I mean, I think that's what hurts Al Oliver too.
Too many teams.
Not too many, but he played in these obscure teams. Like Texas sucked when he played with them. Montreal sucked when he played with them. But, at the time he was playing, he was a phenomenal hitter. Nobody could get him out.
Doubles machine, man. Al Oliver.
Yeah.
By the way, Vlad Guerrero's lifetime batting average 319, won an MVP.
Wait a second. I thought it was 27. Are you sure? 319.
Well, I guess Baseball Reference is 318. But when you think about that in today's era, hitting like 318,
I think it's 327. I remember seeing it being 327 because I was shocked it was higher than Clemente.
I'll bet you Jack and Coke at the National.
Because sometimes different websites will list it differently, and maybe
it's batting average. This isn't WAR. This is batting average. It's 318.
All right. Well, the site
he's really. I mean, that though. Think about that. He's probably got the highest.
I remember being shocked that it was higher than Clemente's.
Yeah,
but it's not higher than Clemente's if it's 318. Oh no, it's one higher than Clemente. Clemente's was 317.
Oh really? Oh, my trivia question. This is a good one. Yeah. And on the chat, anybody answer this question? Who is the first National League outfielder to win back-to-back Most Valuable Players?
The first National League player?
National League outfielder to win back-to-back Most Valuable Players.
wasn't Parker, was it? He only won.
No, he only won one.
He won in '78, and Stargell and
That
Hernandez
guy.
split in '79.
You think of all the great National League outfielders in the history of the game.
It's
that
gonna
I
be a
didn't watch
no.
baseball.
It's
That's
gonna be a no, not a no name, but it's gonna be like a Jack Clark or something like that. It's not gonna be a top tier guy. It's my
Jack Clark.
National League outfielder.
Ray from Philly's in the house. Bonds is not right. He's earlier than Bonds.
He's what,
earlier than Bonds.
Oh, he played before Bonds.
Yeah. Chris Gill just hit it on
Andre
the chat.
Johnson.
No, same era though. He hit it in the chat. Don't look at the chat.
I'm not looking at the chat.
Look away. Yeah.
Oh.
Dale Murphy. Dale
Right down
Murphy.
the road. Right down the road in Atlanta, and he's not a Hall of Famer. A lot of people think he should be, but you know, Dale Murphy's another one of those victims of total stats. Right? What's his batting average? 279.
It's not great.
Somewhere around there.
Probably lower.
But at the time he played, was one of the best players in baseball. Period. Right?
Oh, I was telling this kid at work. He says, he's like 35. He says, hey, who's this? This is Dale Murphy. Is this guy any good? I'm like, well, he was like one of the best players in the National League for like 6 years.
Well, it took Gary Carter a while to get in too, right? And we all thought he was one of the best catchers of the era.
Gary Carter is just one of the greatest catchers of all time. I mean,
Yeah,
he really is.
And Ted
Like-
Simmons, I remember Ted Simmons being one of the top catchers. It took him a long time to get in.
Veterans.
Real good offensively.
Yeah. Hey, we're gonna have to go. My phone's dying, and it's gonna
And I need
conk
to
out
get
any
that out of
second.
here.
And at Don's age, he needs to use a restroom. I'm
I
afraid.
actually do.
I'm
drinking all this water.
I'm afraid his prostate's gonna fall off.
I might piss on your cards here.
All right,
And on
guys.
that note, we'll let you guys go.
Hey, George, thank you for coming on,
Yeah,
man.
thanks, man.
You made this live chat.
Well, guys, it was a pleasure, John.
we
Thank
were
you for having me.
I haven't said
What's-
an hour.
Well,
Can't get one
I
out.
apologize. I mean, I talk a lot.
Don, good seeing you, man. It sounds like you guys are having a great time. Really looking forward.
Tag Rick Go Live. See you guys.
All right.
Thanks everybody for watching. How do you turn this thing off?
Let me turn it up. We're still live.
I'm still live, man. I can't figure out how to turn it off.
Well, just keep going.
How do you turn this off, Don?
I don't know. I've never done one of these.
Oh,
I
there
feel
you
like
go.
I'm dumber over here.
There's an end button.
God, is it? Holy crap.
Oh my God.
You were on a long time. You were on for like 5 Jack Daniels, man. That's pretty good. Your wife's been in bed for like 4 hours.
Man, I'm still live. It's still
Are
live.
you?
Why won't it end?